The gazes of many people in the hall were all attracted by the temperament of this group of people. The man in the white shirt in front seems to be the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City, Zhangzhou. The one wearing silver glasses next to him, it's the general manager of the Imperial Hotel, Wang Fengyi. The one on the far right seems to be Liu Qingping, the CEO of Liu Pharmaceuticals. The one in the middle is the chairman of Qing Kun Group, Li Wanian. Exclamations and discussions rose and fell in the hall. Everyone looked at them with admiration and admiration. In their eyes, these people were like the brightest stars. Wu Meng, who was hosting the wedding banquet today, brought a couple and quickly went up to welcome them. "Ha ha ha, welcome, welcome to my son's wedding." Wu Meng's face was flushed as he shouted happily. "President Wu, you're too polite." All the CEOs cupped their fists in return, and the scene was extremely lively. "Let's not stand here, we don't want to block these big shots. Let's sit down first," Tu Daepeng reminded. At this moment, a surprised voice suddenly sounded from the crowd of CEOs. "Brother Lin Fan." Then Liu Yuheng walked over quickly and said happily, "Brother Lin Fan, it really is you. Haha, I didn't expect to see you here." Lin Fan smiled, "I didn't expect it either." Liu Qingping, the CEO of Liu Pharmaceuticals, also walked over. He knew his son very well. In fact, he was also very proud. Ordinary people were not worthy of his attention at all. There were very few people who his son would treat so kindly and even address as brother. Therefore Liu Qingping could not help but ask, "Yuheng, this is?" "Dad, this is Lin Fan, brother Lin Fan," Liu Yuheng introduced. "Lin Fan." Liu Qingping naturally knew this name. The first time, Liu Yuheng said that Lin Fan had saved the life of Zhou Guotao. The Zhou family, that was one of the top families in Hua Nation. At that time, Liu family decided to build a good relationship with Lin Fan. The second time, Liu Yuheng said that Lin Fan had insider information about the stock market and asked if the Liu family wanted to invest together. Insider information on the stock market was such an old-fashioned trick being used to deceive the Liu family. If it was someone else who said this, the Liu family would definitely kick the other party away. However, the person who said that was Lin Fan. In order to build a relationship with Lin Fan, the Liu family invested 600 million. To the Liu family, even if they lost 100 to 200 million, as long as they had a good relationship with Lin Fan, it was nothing. However, Lin Fan managed to raise the profit rate of the Liu family to 400% in just 3 days. When Liu Qingping saw the stock trading records and the final investment return, he felt like he was dreaming. Unbelievable. It was also because of this that the Liu family was even more determined to build a good relationship with Lin Fan. "So it's Lin Fan, haha, I've often heard Yuheng mention you, you're indeed a talented person," Liu Qingping praised sincerely. The CEOs who were walking into the hall heard the voices of Liu Qingping, Liu Yuheng, and Lin Fan. They all turned their heads to look. In the next moment, the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City, Zhang Zhou, the general manager of Imperial Hotel, Wang Fengyi, and the chairman of Qing Kun Group, Li Wanian, shouted, "Mr. Lin! Mr. Lin! Mr. Lin!" These three existences that many people looked up to hurriedly came before Lin Fan under everyone's puzzled gazes. The chairman of Qing Kun Group, Li Wanian, said in an extremely respectful tone, "Mr. Lin, it's great to see you today. All the executives of our Qing Kun Group unanimously want to invite you to host this year's annual meeting and determine the dividends for this year." Zhang Zhou, the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City, quickly followed up, "Mr. Lin, our Xiao Wu Wholesale City also wants to invite you to host the annual meeting and handle the important matters of the company." The general manager of the Imperial Hotel, Wang Fengyi, said, "Mr. Lin, all the staff of the Imperial Hotel are looking forward to you hosting the annual meeting." "I won't be hosting the annual meetings," said Lin Fan. "As for the major matters of the various companies, as usual, you can handle them on your own. As for the dividends, it'll be the same as in previous years. They'll be distributed according to the profits and my share will be directly transferred to my card." If he really did as they said and hosted the annual meetings, then he had to deal with all kinds of important matters. Would that not make him busy to death? This was not the life that Lin Fan wanted. Li Wanian, the chairman of Qing Kun Group, Zhang Zhou, the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City, and Wang Fengyi, the general manager of the Imperial Hotel, agreed helplessly. This scene was witnessed by everyone present. The three big shots were actually so respectful to a young man and even invited him to host the annual meetings and deal with the important matters of the companies. What was the identity of this young man? Finally, Wu Meng, who was standing at the side, could not help but ask, "This is?" "Mr. Lin is the largest shareholder of our Qing Kun Group," Li Wanian said. "He's also the biggest shareholder of our Xiao Wu Wholesale City," Zhang Zhou said. "Mr. Lin is the owner of our Imperial Hotel," Wang Fengyi said. Silence. The entire hall fell silent. Everyone looked at Lin Fan in shock. One had to know. Qing Kun Group was a star enterprise in Qing City with thousands of employees. Xiao Wu Wholesale City was a listed company with a market value of 10 billion yuan. The Imperial Hotel was a landmark building in Jiangbei. All of these belonged to Lin Fan. This. Han Tian knew that Lin Fan was very rich and impressive. He was the landlord of the entire Washington Palace. He had casually bought a large condominium in Yiqi City and owned the entire Coiling Dragon Villa complex. He even owned Zhen Yuding. However, at this moment, Han Tian was equally shocked. Zhao Liping and Chen Dongxiang, who were standing at the side, opened their mouths wide. Tu Daipeng buried his head very low, wishing he could find a hole to hide in. He said that Lin Fan was lucky to meet big shots he would never see again in his life. The result? All of them were Lin Fan's subordinates. What kind of stupid thing did he say? At this moment, Wu Meng, who was also extremely shocked, finally came back to his senses. He said in an excited tone, "Mr. Lin, you're here, but I didn't welcome you in time. It's my fault for not welcoming you well. Please forgive me, Mr. Lin." Lin Fan said casually, "I'm here with my girlfriend to attend your son's wedding. It's normal that you didn't know. You don't have to mind it." "Mr. Lin, please come in," Wu Meng said. Lin Fan nodded his head and held Han Tian's slender waist. Under everyone's gaze, they slowly walked forward. 210 Buying a car, visiting the homeroom teacher. Under Wu Meng's invitation, Lin Fan and Han Tian sat at table 1. Today was the wedding banquet, and the main character should be the groom, Wu Kai. However, the main topic of discussion today was Lin Fan. Many guests also toasted Lin Fan. Regarding this, Wu Meng and Wu Kai were not angry. On the contrary, they were extremely happy. The wedding banquet lasted for 3 hours before it slowly came to an end. Originally, Han Tian wanted to spend more time with Lin Fan in Qing City. However, Lianjia's headquarters had called her several times to urge her to return to Jiangbei as soon as possible. After Han Tian and Lin Fan were intimate for a while, they had no choice but to part. At this moment, Lin Fan was standing by the road, waiting for a taxi. However, he did not see any cars for a few minutes. He could not help but look into the distance and happened to see a Mercedes-Benz shop. "I won't have a car for the next few days," he muttered. "It's not convenient, I should just buy one." After saying that, Lin Fan walked straight into the Mercedes-Benz shop. "Welcome to Mercedes-Benz," the saleswoman standing at the door smiled. Then she quickly poured a cup of green tea and continued, "Is there anything I can help you with?" "Service first, then work." Lin Fan could not help but nod his head. The service of the Mercedes-Benz was pretty good. "I'm here to buy a car. Do you have any cars available?" Lin Fan asked. "We have the C-Series and E-Series cars here and the GLA and GLC SUV over there." The saleswoman pointed at the cars in the exhibition hall and said. Lin Fan looked over and said, "Then I'll buy a GLC." He had driven a lot of supercars, and now he felt tired when he saw the low cars. Therefore he chose the larger GLC. "This is a GLC 300L the body," the female salesperson said. However, before she could finish her introduction, Lin Fan took out a bank card and interrupted her. "Swipe this card." Huh, the saleswoman was stunned. What was going on? She had not introduced the car yet. Could it be, did he already know about the car? However, she had not said the price yet. Did he not need to know the price? After a while, the saleswoman came back to her senses and said, "Ooh, the price of this car is 450,000 yuan. Including the purchase tax and insurance, the total is 520,000. All right, Lin Fan nodded. All right. Just one word. Was he really not going to bargain? The saleswoman took the bank card in a daze and turned around to walk toward the finance department. Wait, Lin Fan said. The saleswoman was delighted. Is he finally going to bargain? I want to, Lin Fan said. Lin Fan had already given his parents 5 million. However, they lived a frugal life and were still reluctant to spend the money. His father still only had an old van to transport goods. Since that was the case, he would buy him a new car. Although the Mercedes-Benz GLC was cheaper, at least it was better than a broken van, right? The saleswoman was speechless. Beep. When the bank card was swiped on the POS machine, a crisp sound was heard, and the receipt for 1.04 million appeared. Lin Fan said, "I'll give you another 20,000, help me get the license and insurance, then send the cars to my house." After Lin Fan left the Mercedes-Benz shop, the saleswoman was still standing there in a daze. From the time Lin Fan entered the shop to the time he swiped his card and left, excluding the time she poured tea for him, was it even 3 minutes? Spending 1.04 million in 3 minutes to buy 2 GLCs. The saleswoman felt like she was dreaming. At this moment, a few colleagues came over and said, "Zio Kyan, congratulations on selling 2 GLCs, you have to treat me tonight." That's right. You must treat me. After Lin Fan walked out of the Mercedes-Benz shop, he saw a taxi. Go to Central Hospital, he said after some thought. Lin Fan, you're here, Yang Wei said happily. How's the homeroom teacher? Lin Fan nodded. He's much better now, it's all thanks to you, Yang Wei said. Yang Wei definitely said this from the bottom of her heart. If it was not for Lin Fan, Chief Physician Li Quan would not have come all the way here to perform Li Yang's surgery. It would have been impossible for Li Yang to stay in the VIP ward and receive the best recuperation. Lin Fan looked at the bed. Indeed, Li Yang's complexion had improved a lot, he felt a little more at ease. The two of them chatted for a while before Lin Fan spent 10 million yuan to buy a bottle of medical water from the system. This is a type of medicine. When the homeroom teacher's body is slightly better, have him drink it. It'll help his body, Lin Fan said. All right, thank you, Lin Fan, Yang Wei said. Then Lin Fan turned around and prepared to leave. At this moment, Li Xinyu, who had not spoken much, said in a very clear voice, "Brother Lin Fan, you're studying at Jiangbei University, right?" Yes, Lin Fan replied. Li Xinyu looked at Lin Fan with her big black eyes and said seriously, "I'll go to Jiangbei University in the future." All right, Lin Fan said with a smile, "I'll wait for you at Jiangbei University." After saying that, he turned around and walked out again. When Lin Fan returned home, his parents were not back yet. Hence, Lin Fan lay down on the sofa and started playing with his phone. Not long after, he turned his attention to the system. Level LV6. Level 6 reward, 50 yuan for every breath, 50 yuan for every second of sleep, and 50 yuan for every step taken. Rewards are distributed at 12 a.m. daily. Upgrade cost, 58.8 million, 100 million, not including gifts and gambling. In addition, all items obtained from the system are prohibited from being traded. Skills, professional driving skills, charming aura, 5% chance of triggering love at first sight, unforgettable memory, violent aesthetics, drinking gentleman, absolute focus, 10% chance of triggering a flash of inspiration, professor-level mathematics experience, eyes of truth, professional law experience, expert-level planting technique, professional-level violin technique. Lin Fan muttered, "There's still a long way to go before the next level up. Forget it, let's see what I can get from the 5 silver packets I received 2 days ago." Opened. Ding, congratulations, you've received 800,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1 million yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained a 1 yuan critical hit card. After spending 1 yuan, you can get 100 million yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 100,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 400,000 yuan. Lin Fan sighed and said, it seems like it's all useless. Then he turned his attention to the sign-in system. Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained Brilliant KTV. Brilliant KTV, this seems to be the biggest KTV chain in Qing City, right? Why are you giving this to me? Lin Fan pursed his lips. The next morning, after Lin Fan woke up, he looked at his phone as usual. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,570,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Lin Fan casually swiped his phone for a while and muttered, I got Brilliance KTV when I signed in yesterday. Let's see what I can get today. Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 51% of Shunshun Express shares. Seeing this, Lin Fan's eyes lit up. One had to know. Shunshun Express was the largest private express delivery company in Hua Nation. It was known for its speed and service. Its market value had reached more than 300 billion. 51% of the shares. In other words, he had obtained more than 150 billion today. Lin Fan played with his phone in bed for a while before getting up and washing up. His parents had gone to the shop early in the morning. Lin Fan went out by himself and spent 20 yuan to buy a basket of steamed dumplings and a bowl of beef noodles. Then he spent another 1 yuan on a cup of soy milk. At this moment, a notification rang out in Lin Fan's mind. Ding, you've spent 1 yuan. Do you want to use the 1 yuan critical hit card? Yes, Lin Fan said casually. Not long after, the phone in Lin Fan's pocket vibrated. Notice from Merchant Bank, 100 million yuan was deposited into your account. Even though Lin Fan was no longer interested in money, when he saw that he had received 100 million yuan, he could not help but smile. After eating and drinking his fill, Lin Fan walked along the winding road casually. Looking at the familiar scenery, he felt relaxed and reminisced. Lin Fan. A Volkswagen drove over from afar and it suddenly stopped. Huang De poked his head out of the driver's seat. Lin Fan had a good impression of Huang De. Firstly, they had a good relationship when they were in school. Secondly, Huang De was the one who informed him that their homeroom teacher was seriously ill. A person who knew how to respect his teachers was worth befriending. Moreover, that teacher had also taken care of Lin Fan. Huang De, are you going to work? Lin Fan asked happily. That's right, Lin Fan, you're on vacation now, right? Do you want to come to my workplace to play? I'll bring you and your sister-in-law for lunch, Huang De said. Lin Fan remembered that Huang De worked on Hushui Street as a government servant. He had never been there before. Lin Fan was also curious about Huang De's girlfriend. Plus, he really did not have anything to do later. All right, he replied. Then Lin Fan sat in the Volkswagen. The two of them chatted during the journey. It was quite relaxed and carefree. Not long after, the two of them arrived at Hushui Street. The office building on Hushui Street was relatively old. Fortunately, there were computers, desks, cabinets, and so on. It was also clean and tidy. It was quite comfortable here. Huang De first poured a cup of tea for Lin Fan. Then he prepared many newspapers and magazines for him. Lin Fan, sit here for a while, I'm going to work first. Okay, you go ahead, Lin Fan said. Many people always felt that government servants had a peaceful job. They drank a pot of tea, read the newspaper, and sat there for an entire day. In reality, after chatting with Lin Fan for a while, Huang De got busy in front of the computer, writing materials or organizing files. He was very serious and responsible. As a result, when Huang De finished his cup of tea, he did not even have time to refill it. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. At this moment, a young woman with an oval face and fair skin walked over with a stack of documents. She first poured a glass of water for Huang De and then said, the leader wants you to write a summary of yesterday's meeting. When Huang De saw her, it was as if all the fatigue in his body had disappeared. He said happily, all right, I'll summarize it later. Lin Fan, this is my girlfriend Wang Zai. Lin Fan stood up and said, "Sister-in-law is so beautiful. Hi, I'm Huang De's high school classmate." Wang Zai was also very happy. "Wait a little longer, Huang De, and I will treat you to lunch." Sure, Lin Fan smiled. At this moment, a series of dull footsteps sounded from outside the corridor. Then, Wang Harui, who was wearing silver-rimmed glasses, walked over and said in a deep voice, "Wang Zai, there's a problem with a piece of information from group leader Liu. Go over and help deal with it." When Wang Zai heard this, her face revealed a hint of reluctance. She said, "Dad, can't you let someone else handle it?" "What are you so busy with? Hurry over." Wang Harui's face turned serious as he shouted. "All right then," Wang Zai said reluctantly. After Wang Zai left, Wang Harui looked at Huang De with a stern gaze and said, "Huang De, I know you like my daughter, but I don't think you're suitable for her." "Team leader Wang Zai and I are truly in love," Huang De said. Wang Harui raised an eyebrow, looked around and said in a low voice, "True love, can you give her happiness? You're just a small team member now." Huang De opened his mouth, wanting to retort. However, his voice seemed to be stuck in his throat, and he could not utter a single word. That was right. He was just a small team member. He only earned 3,000 yuan per month. If nothing unexpected happened, it would probably be the same after 5 years or even 10 years. How should he give Wang Zai happiness? At this moment, footsteps suddenly sounded from outside. "Greetings, Captain Song," someone greeted respectfully. Wang Harui turned around slowly. When he saw several men in white shirts, especially the bald man at the front, his pupils constricted slightly. Song Wenwu, the captain of Qing City's finance department. This leader actually came to their small street. Therefore, Wang Harui said in a very respectful tone, "Hello, Captain Song." When Song Wenwu heard the voice, he looked over and smiled. "Team leader Wang, did I disturb your work?" "How could that be? It's our honor to have you come to our street office to guide us," Wang Harui said. Song Wenwu nodded and was about to speak again. In the next moment, his entire expression turned solemn. Song Wenwu suddenly saw Lin Fan. He quickened his pace and walked forward. Wang Harui saw Song Wenwu walking toward him, and he was overwhelmed by his favor. However, he did not dare to let Song Wenwu come to him personally. Wang Harui hastened his steps. However, just as Wang Harui was about to shake hands with Song Wenwu walked past him. Finally, Song Wenwu arrived in front of Lin Fan. He bent down and extended his hands. He said in an excited and respectful tone, "Hello, Mr. Lin." 212 invitation, everyone's envy. Even though Song Wenwu had only met Lin Fan once, that time left a deep impression on him and he would never forget it. That was because it was Lin Fan's grandfather's birthday celebration. Song Wenwu still remembered clearly. At that time, all the higher-ups in Qing City, Jiangbei, and Jiang Province went to celebrate Lin Fan's grandfather's birthday. Even old master Qin Weiming went. From this, one could see just how high Lin Fan's status was. Song Wenwu had dreamed of meeting Lin Fan again, but he did not expect that he would be able to do so today. Back then, Lin Fan had only casually glanced at Song Wenwu in the crowd. However, he remembered him. At this moment, Lin Fan saw that Song Wenwu had lowered himself and greeted him. He returned the greeting and stretched out his right hand. "Captain Song, right, hello." When Song Wenwu saw Lin Fan shaking hands with him, he was extremely excited. He quickly said, "Mr. Lin, you can call me Lil Song. Lil Song will do." Their conversation was heard by everyone present, and their faces were filled with confusion and shock. One had to know. Song Wenwu was the captain of the city's finance department. When had everyone ever seen him so respectful and fawning over someone? Moreover, the other party was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. It was unbelievable. Lin Fan smiled, "You're about the same age as my dad, I'll just call you Old Song." All right, Song Wenwu said happily. Then Lin Fan pointed at Huang De and said, "This is my good friend Huang De, he works at Hushui Street, he's quite capable." Huang De is a diligent person with a strong working ability. I've heard of him long ago, Song Wenwu hurriedly said. I didn't expect him to be your good friend. It had to be said that Song Wenwu's speech was really good. In reality, Song Wenwu had seen Huang De before, but he did not know his name. Lin Fan did not point it out. He continued, Huang De Gang told me that there are too few businesses in Qing City, causing the living standards of the people to be too poor. I think what he said makes sense, so I promised Huang De that I would help find a group of companies to invest in. Then he looked at his phone and said, It's getting late. Old Song, please help me invite leader Zhao Jiaqi. I'll invite Liu Qingping, the chairman of Liu Pharmaceuticals, Li Wanian, the chairman of Qing Kun Group, Zhang Zhou, the chairman of Zio Wu Wholesale City, and Wang Fengyi, the general manager of the Imperial Hotel, to have lunch together. What do you think? Liu Pharmaceuticals, Qing Kun Group, Zio Wu Wholesale City, the Imperial Hotel. These were all large companies and enterprises worth tens of billions. If he invited the CEOs of these companies to have a meal together and pulled in some investments, it would be a huge investment of hundreds of millions or even billions. How many jobs would be created? Just thinking about it made Song Wenwu's throat go dry. Yes, I'll contact Leader Zhao right away, he said hurriedly. After saying that, Song Wenwu quickly took out his phone and dialed Zhao Jiaqi's number. Although Lin Fan had not called the CEOs yet and had only told him about it, Song Wenwu believed that he could call these people over. He was Lin Fan. Even if Lin Fan did not manage to get these big businessmen to come over, it did not matter. Song Wenwu believed that Lin Fan just needed to say that he wanted to have a meal with them, and those people would agree. Leader Zhao would definitely accept the invitation too. After a while the call went through. Hello, a dignified voice came from the phone. Hello leader, this is Song Wenwu, Song Wenwu said. Captain Song, what's the matter? Zhao Jiaqi's tone softened a little when he answered the phone. Song Wenwu said, Mr. Lin Fan asked me to invite you to have a meal with Liu Qingping, the chairman of the Liu Pharmaceuticals, Li Wanian, the chairman of Qing Kun Group, Zhang Zhou, the chairman of Zio Wu Wholesale City, and Wang Fengyi, the general manager of the Imperial Hotel. Are you free this afternoon? Oh, Zhao Jiaqi's tone immediately became extremely high as he said, Please tell Mr. Lin that I'm free. Also, if you haven't booked a hotel yet, I'll arrange for everyone to go to Qing City Grand Hotel. In many big cities, the restaurants named after the city were all top-notch in terms of taste, scale, and class. Obviously, the Qing City Grand Hotel was one of them. Song Wenwu put the phone aside and whispered, Mr. Lin, the leader asked if you've booked a restaurant. If you haven't, he'll arrange for everyone to go to Qing City Grand Hotel. Lin Fan said, All right, then I'll have to trouble Leader Zhao. Hence Song Wenwu relayed Lin Fan's words to Leader Zhao. At this point the call ended. After the meeting ended, Lin Fan took out his phone and dialed Liu Yuhang's number. Yuhang, are you and your dad still in Qing City? Lin Fan asked. We're still here, we're going back to Jiangbei in the afternoon. Brother Lin Fan, what's the matter? Liu Yuhang seemed to have heard the seriousness in Lin Fan's tone, so he did not shout around like he usually did. Lin Fan said, That's great, I want to have lunch with you guys. Okay, my dad and I will definitely be there on time, Liu Yuhang said. In fact, they had a lunch appointment with a medicinal herb merchant in Qing City. That was why they wanted to return to Jiangbei in the afternoon. However, how could a small medicinal herb merchant compare to Lin Fan? Liu Yuhang did not even think about it and agreed with Lin Fan. Then, Lin Fan dialed the numbers of Li Wanian, the chairman of Qing Kun Group, Zhang Zhou, the chairman of Zio Wu Wholesale Market, and Wang Fengyi, the general manager of the Imperial Hotel. Like Liu Yuhang, the three of them agreed without hesitation. After all, Lin Fan was their real boss. If the boss invited his subordinate to a meal, he had to go even if the sky was raining knives. Lin Fan said, All right, I've already arranged everything. After 4 phone calls, he easily made an appointment with 4 CEOs of billion-dollar companies. It was as if these 4 were soldiers waiting for orders at any time. Instantly, Lin Fan's position in Song Wenwu's heart rose a lot. Lin Fan did not care about it and said, It's about time, old Song, let's go. All right, we'll go over, Song Wenwu stuttered. Lin Fan had just taken 2 steps forward when he realized that Huang De was not following him. He stopped and said, Huangde, why aren't you coming? What do I have to go over to? Huangde said somewhat stiffly. He was already so shocked by what was happening in front of him that he could not control himself. These big entrepreneurs are all gathering together because of your suggestion. If you don't go, who will? Lin Fan smiled. Everyone, including Song Wenwu, looked at Huang De with envy. They understood that Lin Fan wanted to give all the credit to Huang De. If the dinner later really reached an investment of hundreds of millions or even billions, Huang De would have a meteoric rise. 213 dinner, huge investment. Qing City Grand Hotel was located in the urban area of Qing City. The decoration, the dishes, and the service were all very good. Therefore, many people in Qing City loved it. If one wanted to eat at Qing City Grand Hotel, one would usually need to make a reservation in advance. Otherwise, one might have to wait for a while. Today, Qing City Grand Hotel was as crowded as usual. Tusk. At this moment, a car with the car plate number A00001 slowly drove over. The attendant standing at the door had a good eye and quickly went up to greet him. Leader Zhao, welcome, welcome, the attendant said respectfully. Ask your manager to arrange a better private room. I'll be receiving important guests, Zhao Jiaqi said. Yes, I'll get our manager to come over now, the attendant hurriedly said. After a while, Zhao Jiaqi was brought to room 666 on the top floor of Qing City Grand Hotel by the manager. This was a private room reserved by Qing City Grand Hotel. It was usually not open to the public and would only be used by some big shots. Obviously, Zhao Jiaqi belonged to such a category. A moment later, Lin Fan, Huang De, Song Wenwu, Liu Qingping, Liu Yuheng, Li Wanian, Zhang Zhou, Wang Fengyi, and the others entered the private room. Brother Lin, long time no see, Zhao Jiaqi laughed heartily and gave Lin Fan a bear hug. Seeing this, everyone present was slightly shocked. Although they were all big entrepreneurs and had seen many leaders, most of the leaders were very serious and put on airs. When had they ever seen a leader so close to someone? Moreover, he was a young man in his 20s. Lin Fan, he was even more amazing than they had imagined. Lin Fan smiled, that's right, Brother Zhao, long time no see. Welcome, big businessmen, to Qing City. Please forgive me if I'm not being nice to you, Zhao Jiaqi added. No. It's my honor to have dinner with Leader Zhao. Liu Qingping, Zhang Zhou, Wang Fengyi, and the others all replied. Leader Zhao, I'm not a guest in Qing City, I'm in my own home, Li Wanian smiled. Yes, Zhao Jiaqi said, then the two of us have to entertain these guests today. No problem, Li Wanian said. Everyone was good at talking. The entire private room would burst into hearty laughter from time to time. After chatting for a while, Lin Fan finally revealed the purpose of gathering everyone. General Manager Wang, you're an expert in hotels. What do you think about building a high-end hotel with a total investment of more than 1 billion in my hometown, Qing City? Lin Fan asked. The moment he said that, everyone immediately understood why Lin Fan had invited them here. Qing City has a large population, a beautiful environment, and no lack of middle-class people, Wang Fengyi said. Even though we have our own Qing Kun Hotel, Wang Hao Hotel, and other mid-range hotels, we lack a high-end landmark hotel. I think that building a high-end hotel in Qing City with a total investment of more than 1 billion has great prospects. If Qing City can provide a suitable location, I'm willing to apply to the company to build a landmark hotel in Qing City based on the Imperial Hotel in Jiangbei. Song Wenwu, who was sitting next to him, immediately revealed an excited expression. This was just the beginning, and Lin Fan had already pulled in more than 1 billion yuan of investment. Was this not too fast? Zhao Jiaqi was also extremely happy and said, we have a few plots of excellent empty land in the center of Qing City. We were going to auction them later, but as long as you're willing to build a landmark hotel, you can have your pick. Wang Fengyi smiled, that's great, I'll thank Leader Zhao first. As he spoke, he raised his glass and downed it. Zhao Jiaqi said, no, I should be the one thanking you, Manager Wang. Thank you for your contribution to the development of Qing City. Therefore, he also drank a full glass of wine. Then Lin Fan said, Mr. Zhang, I remember that Xiao Wu Wholesale City hasn't established a storage center in the central region yet, right? What do you think of Qing City? This was Lin Fan's first request as the largest shareholder. How could Zhang Zhou reject it? Moreover, Xiao Wu Wholesale City really needed a storage hub. Qing City is less than 100 kilometers away from Jiangbei, Zhang Zhou said. It's convenient to get there. If there's a large open space, it's definitely a good choice to build a central warehouse here. Xiao Wu Wholesale City was a large company with a market value of tens of billions. Every year, it sent out hundreds of millions of express deliveries. The importance of a storage hub could be imagined. The investment would probably be at least 1 billion. Another billion-dollar investment. Zhao Jiaqi said happily, Chairman Zhang, we have a large amount of industrial land in the east of Qing City. Moreover, it's closer to Jiangbei and has a two-way four-lane first-class highway. It's definitely the best place to build a logistics hub. Thank you, Leader Zhao, for providing such a generous position. Let me toast you, Zhang Zhou smiled. As soon as he finished speaking, he drank a glass of wine. Zhao Jiaqi also drank a glass. Lin Fan looked at Liu Qingping and said, Director Liu, what do you think of traditional medicine planting? Liu Qingping said, traditional medicine has the effect of consolidating the foundation and nurturing the body and mind. Modern people are paying more and more attention to the conditioning of traditional medicine. In fact, Liu Pharmaceuticals has always been interested in traditional medicine. Qing City is located on a plain, so there's plenty of sunshine and rain. Part of the reason why I came to Qing City this time is to contract a batch of land and build a medicine planting base. But I wonder if Qing City will agree. Qing City will definitely welcome you with open arms, Zhao Jiaqi said excitedly. If that's the case, then our Liu Pharmaceuticals is willing to contract 10,000 mu of land for medicine cultivation, said Liu Qingping with a smile. 10,000 mu of land. If each mu of land was calculated according to the income of 100,000 yuan. 10,000 mu meant that the annual income would be more than 1 billion. Another huge investment of more than 1 billion. Thank you, Director Liu, for your support of Qing City. Thank you. Zhao Jiaqi quickly raised his glass and said, Besides, I believe that Qing City will not disappoint Director Liu. Then Zhao Jiaqi raised his wine glass and downed it. Liu Qingping also drank a glass. Li Wanian smiled. All of you have contributed so much to the development of Qing City. As the host, I can't be left behind. Our Qing City has always lacked a place for people to study. I've decided to build a large library with an investment of no less than 500 million. Good, haha, thank you, Chairman Li. Zhao Jiaqi was overjoyed and shouted. A high-end hotel worth more than 1 billion yuan, a storage hub worth more than 1 billion yuan, a traditional medicine plantation worth more than 1 billion yuan, and a library worth more than 500 million yuan. Just a dinner party had directly decided on a huge investment of 3.5 billion. Terrifying. At this moment, the phone in Lin Fan's pocket rang. At this moment, Lin Fan was eating prawns, and it was not convenient for him to answer the call. He looked at the caller ID and saw that it was an unknown number. Therefore, he pressed the speaker button. Hello, is this Mr. Lin? A respectful voice came from the phone. Lin Fan replied casually, It's me, who are you? Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm the chairman of Shunshun Express Company, Wang Xiaodong, Wang Xiaodong said even more respectfully. When Lin Fan heard that, he was not too surprised. After all, he had already obtained 51% of Shunshun Express shares today. It was normal for the chairman to call. Oh, Chairman Wang, what's the matter? Lin Fan asked. Over the years, our Shunshun Express has developed rapidly, but we're also facing many problems. In order to better serve the public and thus occupy more market share after many discussions and analysis, we, Shunshun Express, unanimously want to invest 50 billion to build an international logistics airport in the central region. Mr. Lin, what do you think? Wang Xiaodong said carefully. After all, Lin Fan was the biggest shareholder in the company. He had to get his approval for such an important matter. Wang Xiaodong did not know Lin Fan well, so he was nervous. Lin Fan's eyes moved slightly. You guys have a good idea. By the way, have you decided on the location of the logistics airport? Hearing this, Wang Xiaodong heaved a sigh of relief. As long as the major shareholder agreed, that was good news. It's still under investigation, Wang Xiaodong said. Mr. Lin, do you have any recommendations? Jiang Province's Qing City, Lin Fan said. Qing City is located in the middle. Regardless of location, price, or transportation, all of them have good advantages, and it's my hometown. What do you think? The biggest shareholder had already said so. How could Wang Xiaodong say no? Moreover, he had indeed considered Qing City. It was indeed a good place. Mr. Lin is right, Wang Xiaodong said immediately. Qing City is very suitable for an international logistics airport. Then we'll set up the logistics airport in Qing City. Silence. The entire private room was silent. Logistics airport. Moreover, it was an international logistics airport with an investment of 50 billion yuan. Was it confirmed just like that? This was simply like a dream. Mr. Lin, I'll contact the leaders of Qing City later, Wang Guidong said. Lin Fan said, no need. Leader Zhao of Qing City is beside me. You can talk to him directly. At this moment, Zhao Jiaqi finally reacted. He could not help but say in an excited voice, Chairman Wang, I'm Zhao Jiaqi, the leader of Qing City. Here, on behalf of Qing City, I can assure you that we'll definitely use the greatest sincerity and the most favorable conditions so that Shunshun Express can smoothly build its international logistics airport here in Qing City. Wang Xiaodong was also stunned. He did not expect the leader of Qing City to be there. However, when Wang Xiaodong thought about how Lin Fan had easily bought 51% of his company's shares, he felt a little relieved. After all, it was normal for such a powerful person to be acquainted with leaders. Thank you, Leader Zhao, Wang Xiaodong said. I'll bring a professional team to Qing City to investigate and decide on the specifics. Good, Zhao Jiaqi said happily. I look forward to the arrival of Chairman Wang and the experts. After hanging up the phone, Zhao Jiaqi's entire face was flushed red. He looked as if he had just drunk a large bottle of wine. It was no wonder. Qing City was only a small fourth-tier city. There were not many big projects worth more than 1 billion yuan in the entire city. What about today? Today, they had one 500 million project, $3 billion projects, and even a $50 billion international logistics airport. How many economic benefits would this bring to Qing City? How many jobs would this create? In fact, not only was Zhao Jiaqi happy, but Liu Qingping, Zhang Zhou, Li Wannian, Wang Fengyi, and the others were all very happy as well. This was because Shunshun Express International Logistics Airport being in Qing City would also be of some help to them. At the same time, they had a deeper understanding of Lin Fan's power. A single sentence was enough to decide the matter of the logistics airport. Shunshun Express was probably one of Lin Fan's businesses. Lin Fan said, "Oh right, Brother Zhao, let me introduce you. This is my good friend Huang De, he works at Hushui Street. He's the reason why so many big companies have decided to invest in Qing City. Brother Zhao, don't forget to reward him according to his merits." How could Zhao Jiaqi not understand that Lin Fan was not someone who belonged to the system? He did not need these merits. He wanted to give all the credit to Huang De. We'll never forget anyone who has made contributions. Huang De, you're not bad, you've won so many big projects for Qing City. After this, I'll report it to the higher authorities for you and let the whole city learn from you. You're overqualified to work in Hushui Street. Huang De, get ready, you'll shoulder heavy responsibilities after this. Song Wenwu, the captain of the finance department, looked at Huang De with envy. Although Song Wenwu had guessed that this dinner would result in hundreds of millions or even hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investment, he was still not sure how it was going to happen. He had never thought that it would be a library worth more than 500 million yuan, a hotel worth more than 1 billion yuan, a warehouse hub worth more than 1 billion yuan, a medicine plantation base worth more than 1 billion yuan, and an international logistics airport worth more than 50 billion yuan. Any one of them was enough to be considered a great contribution. Adding all of them together, it was not an exaggeration to say that it was a great contribution. All the credit belonged to Huang De. Huang De's future was absolutely limitless. The reason for this was that Huang De had a good friend, Lin Fan. Then Zhao Jiaqi raised his wine glass and said, "Huang De, let me toast you." As soon as he finished speaking, he drank it all in one gulp. Huang De was still shocked that Lin Fan and Zhao Jiaqi wanted to give him the credit. He could not extricate himself. As a result, Zhao Jiaqi did not react in time when he toasted him. Lin Fan smiled and patted Huang De's shoulder. "Brother Zhao is toasting you. Why are you still sitting there like a fool?" Thank you, Leader Zhao." Only then did Huang De react. He picked up the bottle excitedly and poured himself a full glass of wine, then he poured it directly into his mouth. "Good, hahaha," Zhao Jiaqi said happily. The meal lasted for nearly 3 hours before it slowly came to an end. Everyone, including Zhao Jiaqi, reeked of alcohol. They swayed and almost fell to the ground. Of course, Lin Fan, who had drinking gentlemen, was an exception. After he sent everyone to the car, he walked leisurely on the winding road alone. 215 change, let's sing together. News of Huang De's involvement in the investment of several large projects with a total investment of more than 53.5 billion quickly spread to Hushui Street. Wang Herui's jaw dropped. Then he quickly put down everything he was doing and rushed to his daughter Wang Zai and asked, "Zai Zai, have you become Huang De's girlfriend?" Wang Zai knew that her father was very opposed to her and Huang De being together, and he always wanted to matchmake her and group leader Liu. In the past, she would still lie to her father. Today, she finally mustered up the courage to say, "Yes, I'm already dating Huang De. Dad, love is free nowadays. I'm happy being with the person I like, just." Wang Zai had already prepared a lot of words. She wanted to use reason to convince her father and let him understand how indestructible her relationship with Huang De was. However, before she could finish her sentence, Wang Herui started shouting happily. "All right, hahaha, that's great." Wang Zai's voice could not help but falter when she was suddenly interrupted by her father. She looked at her father's old face as he laughed so brightly. She could not help but reveal a puzzled expression. What was going on? Could it be that her father had gone mad because she was with Huang De? Thinking of this, Wang Zai said worriedly, "Dad, are you all right?" "Don't worry," Wang Herui said happily. "I'm fine, haha." Wang Zai thought to herself, why is Dad so happy? Wang Herui seemed to understand what his daughter was thinking and continued, "Daughter, do you know, Huang De has gotten several large projects worth more than 1 billion yuan today. There's even an international logistics airport worth more than 50 billion yuan. Wang Herui's tone became even more arrogant. When Wang Zai heard this, she could not help but widen her eyes, her face filled with surprise. Even though Wang Zai was just an ordinary member of the Hushui Street office, she knew very well what it meant to attract such a big project, especially to bring in an international logistics airport worth more than 50 billion yuan. This was it was enough to completely change a person's life. Wang Herui laughed heartily. "Not bad, daughter, you found a good boyfriend, you have good taste." A smug smile appeared on Wang Zai's pretty face. It was as if she was saying, "Your daughter has always had good taste." Wang Herui looked around and whispered, "Daughter, you and Huang De, have you ever?" Wang Zai was not a little girl who was ignorant of the world. She naturally understood what her father was talking about. Her pretty face could not help but blush. She lowered her head and said, "Dad." Wang Herui coughed and said, "How about this? Let Huang De come to our house for dinner tonight and the two of us can have a few drinks." "All right," Wang Zai made a mosquito-like sound. Lin Fan had no idea about all of this. At this moment, he was still walking casually on the winding road. When he turned the corner, a group of students walked over from afar. Among them, there was a slim and elegant girl with a youthful smile on her face. "Lil Yao?" Lin Fan asked. "Brother," Lin Zai shouted happily. Then she introduced him to the 3 guys and 2 girls beside her. "Let me introduce you, this is my brother." Brother, they're all my classmates. The six of us made a bet. Whoever came in last place in the test will have to treat everyone to a karaoke session. There's no evening self-study today, so Zhu Jun invited us to go karaoke. Brother, you should come too. Karaoke. With his sister and a few of her classmates. Lin Fan was not interested at all. You should go with your classmates, I won't go. Lin Xiaoyao hugged Lin Fan's arm and said, Brother, let's go together, it's so late now. Aren't you afraid that your cute sister will be in danger? Lin Fan pinched Lin Xiaoyao's face and said, Your face is so swollen now, I'm not worried you won't be in danger. Brother, Lin Xiaoyao protested. Lin Fan smiled, all right, I'll go with you. Yay, Lin Xiaoyao cheered. Hence the original team of 6 now included Lin Fan. Not long after, a very fashionable and high-end building with colorful neon lights appeared in everyone's sight. Lin Fan looked at the words Brilliance KTV, and his face turned weird. Brilliance KTV. Was this not the KTV that he owned? Singing in his own karaoke joint. Lin Xiaoyao saw that Lin Fan was standing still and thought that he was shocked by the grandeur of Brilliance KTV. She could not help but say proudly, Brother, how is it? This karaoke joint isn't any worse than the ones in Jiangbei, right? Was this a compliment to his karaoke joint? Lin Fan smiled and nodded, not bad. Lin Xiaoyao could not help but feel even happier. When the group walked into Brilliance KTV, they were greeted by a fragrant aroma that made them feel relaxed and comfortable. Zhu Jun, who was wearing black-rimmed glasses, said straightforwardly, Today, it's my treat, later don't stand on ceremony. You don't have to pay today, said Lin Fan. After all, why would they need money to sing in his own karaoke joint? However, Zhu Jun thought that Lin Fan thought that he was still studying, which was why he did not want him to pay. Hence he said, Brother Lin, I did badly this time, it's only right for me to treat you, don't fight with me. Lin Fan smiled but did not say anything. Soon an attendant came up to them. Welcome to Brilliance KTV, do you have a reserved room? We didn't make a reservation, said Zhu Jun, just get us a small room. Sorry, our shop is full, said the attendant apologetically. What about a middle-sized room? Zhu Jun asked. There's one more middle-sized room, the attendant replied. All right, then we'll take a medium-sized room, said Zhu Jun. Brilliance KTV was indeed the best karaoke joint in Qing City. Even though it was an ordinary medium-sized room, the soft sofa and the interior were very good. The overall feeling was very good. Lin Fan could not help but nod his head. If you spend more than 400 yuan in our KTV's supermarket, you can sing for 3 hours for free, the attendant said. The room fee was 100 to 200 yuan, and singing also required customers to purchase food and drinks. Now, as long as they bought some things they could sing for free, it was a very attractive deal. Let's go to the supermarket together, Zhu Jun said, take whatever you want. 216, you don't have to pay for the broken bottle of liquor. Brilliance KTV's internal supermarket had a grand layout and a wide variety of snacks, drinks, and fruits. It had everything. Lin Fan, Lin Xiaoyao, and the others were holding small baskets and choosing happily. At this moment, a girl with 2 ponytails pointed at a bottle of Louis XIII and said, Look at this bottle of liquor, the packaging is so special. Wow, my idol drank this liquor in a TV show, another short-haired girl said excitedly. As she spoke, she could not help but reach out and take Louis XIII off the shelf. However, she accidentally dropped the liquor on the floor. Crash! Instantly, the liquor flowed all over the ground. The rich fragrance of the liquor spread throughout the supermarket. A young woman dressed in white saw this and said, The bottle is broken. This bottle of liquor doesn't look cheap, you'll have to pay for it. This is Louis XIII, this bottle is probably worth at least 20,000 to 30,000. The man beside the woman gloated. When the short-haired girl heard this, her face immediately turned pale. 20,000 to 30,000 yuan. She was already very flustered when she accidentally broke the liquor. After hearing that it cost that much, she was even more flustered. How could she have so much money to compensate? At this moment, an attendant also heard the noise and quickly walked over. When he saw the broken bottle and spilled liquor on the ground, he immediately stared at the short-haired girl as if he was afraid that she would run away. Then he pointed at the sign beside him that read, "If something is damaged, compensate according to the price." "This is Louis XIII," he said. "The price is 28,888 yuan." Hearing this, the short-haired girl's face turned even paler, and her entire body began to tremble. 28,888 yuan. She could not afford it at all. The man and woman who were not far away had mocking expressions on their faces when they saw this scene. "This girl should still be a student. This is going to be a good show," the woman sneered. The attendant seemed to have seen through the girl's identity and said, "Hurry up and ask your parents to bring the money. Call her parents." This was a compensation of 28,888 yuan. Her parents would definitely beat her to death. The short-haired girl began to tear up. At this moment, there was the sound of footsteps outside. The manager, Su Song, who was wearing a suit and tie, also heard the commotion and walked over in large strides. The attendants who passed by greeted respectfully, "Hello, Manager Su." Su Song merely nodded his head lightly as a form of greeting. The attendant in the supermarket said, "Manager Su, this girl broke our Louis XIII. We want her to compensate us now." Su Song nodded again. In the next moment, his pupils constricted. He suddenly saw Lin Fan standing beside the girl. Yesterday, Su Song found out that Brilliance KTV had been transferred to a person called Lin Fan. That night Su Song could not sleep all night. It was because he did not know what kind of person his new boss was and whether he was easy to get along with. Would the new boss suddenly fire him? Therefore, Su Song had been thinking about how he could meet this new boss and please him. Su Song did not expect to meet the new boss today. Su Song took a few quick steps and rushed in front of Lin Fan. He bent down and said in a respectful tone, "Hello, Mr. Lin." "Manager Su," Lin Fan replied, "Hello." After a pause, he pointed at the short-haired girl and said, "This is my sister's classmate. She accidentally broke a bottle of liquor in the supermarket." She broke a bottle of liquor in the supermarket. The boss did not mention it was his supermarket. It seemed like the boss did not want to expose himself for the time being. Su Song's eyes turned slightly, and he looked at the short-haired girl's frightened expression. Then he said in a concerned tone, "Student, are you all right? This is just a fake bottle of liquor in our shop. It's not the real Louis XIII. It's not worth much, so you don't have to pay for it. You weren't hurt by the broken bottle, were you?" As Su Song spoke, he stole a glance at Lin Fan. When he saw Lin Fan nodding his head slightly, Su Song could not help but be delighted. His handling was indeed correct. After the short-haired girl heard Su Song's words, the worry and fear on her face immediately dissipated. However, she was still a little nervous. "I really don't need to pay." As she spoke, she looked at the attendant carefully. At this moment, the attendant was also a little stunned by Su Song's words. "Fake Louis XIII wine. How is this possible?" Back then, he and another attendant had personally driven to the store to bring it back. Why did the manager say that? However, Su Song completely ignored his reaction and said with a stern expression, "This is fake, right?" The attendant was so frightened that he became serious and quickly said, "Yes, you don't have to pay." Then Su Song said to the short-haired girl in a very calm tone, "Did you hear that?" The short-haired girl nodded repeatedly, and her entire person gradually relaxed. The young woman in white beside them curled her lips and said, "What? It's actually fake." "Sigh, there's no good show to watch," the man said. After the two of them finished speaking, they took the snacks they had bought and walked out in disappointment. Zhu Jun, the girl with two ponytails, Lin Ziao, and the others all heaved a sigh of relief. When they returned to the karaoke room, they began to discuss. "I was really scared to death just now," the girl with ponytails said. "Me too," a boy said. 28,888 yuan for a bottle of liquor. Heavens, sell me, Zhu Jun said. "Fortunately, it was fake, otherwise I really wouldn't know what to do today," the short-haired girl said. "However, the manager is quite good. If it was someone with a bad heart, they might have insisted that it was real, the girl with the ponytails said. That's right, in the future if we want to sing, let's come to Brilliance KTV, a boy suggested. Lin Xiaoyao tried to smooth things over. All right, just be more careful next time, let's sing quickly, the timer has already started. Thus, Lin Xiaoyao chose a song first and sang loudly with the short-haired girl. Lin Fan listened to their song and frowned. If one had to comment on it, it was like the wailing of ghosts and the howling of wolves. However, it had to be said that after a series of wails and howls, everyone's mood was much better. It was as if they had immediately forgotten all the unhappiness. The atmosphere in the private room was extremely lively. Everyone ran to the screen and began to choose their favorite song, ready to roar. At this moment, there was a light knock on the door. After a while, Su Song slowly pushed open the door of the private room. When the girl with the ponytails, the short-haired girl, and the others saw him again, their hearts tightened again. They thought to themselves, could it be that this manager is going back on his word? Will he say that the broken bottle of liquor isn't fake? 217 Sing another song, break another bottle of Louis XIII. The music stopped temporarily. Su Song slowly walked in amidst the tense situation. I'm sorry for disturbing everyone's session, Su Song apologized. Our Brilliance KTV has prepared some things as compensation to make up for the shock that the student experienced after breaking the bottle of Louis XIII. I hope you don't mind. Then two attendants pushed in two large carts of food. There were fresh fruits, good snacks, delicious drinks, and alcohol. Soon, the table in the private room was completely filled with food. I hope everyone can have a good time at Brilliance KTV. Also, if you need anything else, feel free to tell us at any time, said Su Song. After saying that, he slowly left the private room with the two attendants. The people in the room first looked at the snacks on the table and then looked at each other. In the next moment, a wave of enthusiastic cheers erupted. Heavens! So many snacks. So many fruits. Look, there are even cherries, they're so sweet. The beef jerky tastes so good. Breaking the bottle was worth it, it was really worth it. Go smash another bottle. Everyone was eating snacks and fruits while shouting excitedly. The atmosphere in the entire private room was extremely lively. In order to celebrate the delicious food, they sang even louder. The wails of ghosts and wolves were deafening. At this moment, Lin Xiaoyao realized that Lin Fan was not singing. She could not help but urge him, brother, come and sing too. Could it be that you're afraid that your singing won't be good, so you're shy? Lin Fan rolled his eyes at her and said, I'm afraid that after I sing, you guys won't have the intention to sing anymore. After all, Lin Fan was someone with heavenly voice. His voice was extremely pleasant to the ears and could definitely form a sharp contrast with everyone present. If he were to sing, they would probably doubt their lives. Don't worry, our ears can handle it, feel free to howl, Lin Xiaoyao smiled. Obviously, she thought that Lin Fan was saying that his singing was terrible. Therefore, it would affect everyone's ears. Lin Fan smiled and shook his head. At this moment, the music started playing. The prelude to Summer Wind reverberated in the private room. Lin Xiaoyao took the microphone and handed it to Lin Fan. Brother, you definitely know how to sing this song. Just as Lin Xiaoyao said, Lin Fan could sing this song. Lin Fan looked at Lin Xiaoyao's determined eyes and took the microphone with a smile. Then he slowly opened his mouth. The wind in July is so lazy that even the clouds are getting hot. Not long after, the sky became stuffy and rain fell behind the clouds. Lin Fan's voice was low and gentle. The few people who were eating snacks, drinking, and chatting all stopped what they were doing and looked at Lin Fan with infatuated eyes. The continuous classes made them feel heavy and tired. The tall campus walls were like cages, imprisoning their bodies and souls. However, when they heard Lin Fan's voice, they felt as if a gentle breeze had brushed past their faces. It was as if they had been given a pair of pure white wings, allowing their bodies and souls to soar freely under the blue sky. This was a relaxed and carefree feeling that they had never felt before, a kind of enjoyment that came from the soul. The summer wind is blowing warmly, passing through my hair and ears. You and my summer, the wind gently said. Finally, the song ended. The entire private room was silent for a moment before it suddenly erupted into enthusiastic cheers. It's so good. Brother Lin, you're way too good at singing. Your voice is simply too great. Waves of praise rose and fell. Brother, when did you become such a good singer? Lin Xiaoyao asked excitedly. I've always been good at singing, Lin Fan said. You just never realized it. Really? Lin Xiaoyao was a little confused. Eh? At this moment, the prelude to the next song began to play in the private room. It's Fairy Tale, my favorite song is Fairy Tale. Brother, quickly sing this song, Lin Xiaoyao shouted. The others echoed loudly. Brother Lin Fan, you'll sound so good singing this song. I beg Brother Lin Fan to sing Fairy Tale. Seeing so many requests, Lin Fan could not reject them. I forgot how long it has been since I heard you tell me your favorite story. I thought about it for a long time. I started to panic. Did I do something wrong again? Initially, there was still some noise. However, after Lin Fan started singing, it instantly quieted down. Only Lin Fan's crisp voice echoed in the room. At the same time, everyone's bodies swayed along with the rhythm of the song. Eh? In everyone's eyes, it was as if they were not in a karaoke room at all but in a grand opera house. Lin Fan was not sitting on the sofa and singing. Instead, he was wearing a black suit and playing a beautiful piano song on a high-end stage. A flashy stage light shone down and landed on Lin Fan's body, causing his body to emit a dazzling light. At this moment, Lin Fan seemed to be the only light in the world. It was so fascinating. You have to believe that we'll be like in fairy tales, we'll have our happy ending, we'll write our ending together. After the song ended, everyone was stunned. The girl with two ponytails and the short-haired girl looked at Lin Fan with bright eyes. Lin Xiaoyao was the first to shout. Brother, I love you so much. As soon as she finished speaking, she threw herself into Lin Fan's embrace. Lin Fan reminded her, we're siblings. As he spoke, he was about to push Lin Xiaoyao to the side. However, Lin Xiaoyao was like a sticky candy. She hugged Lin Fan tightly and could not be pushed away. Continue, brother, continue singing, Lin Xiaoyao shouted. I've already sung 2 songs in a row, Lin Fan said. You and your classmates can sing now. If Lin Fan had not sung, they could have still continued to wail. However, after hearing Lin Fan's heavenly voice, how could they still have the face to wail and howl? Brother Lin, please continue singing. Another song. Lin Fan waved his hand. My throat can't take it anymore, I need to rest, you guys can sing. After all, this was a gathering between Lin Xiaoyao and her classmates. It would be inappropriate for him to keep singing. When Lin Xiaoyao and the others heard this, they could only pick up the microphones and start howling again. The singing lasted for a full 3 hours before everyone walked out with their stomachs full of snacks and their faces plastered with smiles. When they passed by the supermarket, bang! The young woman in white dropped a bottle of Louis XIII on the ground. Glass shards immediately shattered on the ground. And the rich aroma of the liquor continued to spread. 218 compensate according to the price, my shop. The young woman in white and the man by her side had brought a large group of friends to sing today. As a result, the snacks that they bought earlier were still not enough. Thus, they went to the supermarket again. When the young woman arrived at the liquor section, she saw a bottle of Louis XIII. Hence, she casually picked it up and sized it up curiously. After all, this was a famous bottle of liquor that could only be seen in movies and TV shows. However, the young woman was careless and dropped the bottle on the ground. The bottle shattered and the liquor flowed out. Seeing this, the young woman and the man did not pay much attention to it. It was because they knew that this was just a fake bottle, they did not have to pay for it. At this moment, an attendant walked over quickly. When he saw Louis XIII on the ground, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. He said seriously, our KTV has a rule that if you damage something you have to compensate according to the price. This bottle of Louis XIII is 28,888 yuan, please pay up. As he spoke, he waved his hand in the distance and 2 attendants came over. Obviously, they were worried that these people would refuse to compensate or even cause trouble. This is fake. Do you think we don't know? 28,888 yuan. Do you think we're stupid? The man said, it's good enough we're not suing you for fraud, you still want us to compensate you. Fake, the attendant said coldly. Who says this is fake? We have a detailed list of all the alcohol we've purchased. Then he took out a stack of invoices. Seeing this, the faces of the man and woman stiffened. The bottle of Louis XIII was real. Would they not have to pay 28,888 yuan then? However, the young woman still straightened her neck and said, who knows if the invoice is fake or not? You can take the bottle and the liquor to have them tested, but now you must compensate us according to the price, the attendant said seriously. At this moment, Lin Fan and the others happened to pass by the entrance of the supermarket. Then why didn't they have to pay after they broke a bottle? The young woman asked. Manager Su Song had already told the attendant that Lin Fan was the new boss of Brilliance KTV. Hence, the waiter sneered in his heart. How can you compare to Mr. Lin? Even if Mr. Lin were to tear down the entire Brilliance KTV, there would be no problem. Lin Xiaoyao, the short-haired girl, the girl with ponytails, Zhu Jun, and the others also saw what was happening in the supermarket. They all looked puzzled. What was going on? Was the Louis XIII in the supermarket not fake? Please compensate us according to the price, the attendant continued to speak to the young woman. As they spoke, several attendants took 2 steps forward and surrounded the young woman and the man. Lin Xiaoyao and the others looked at the situation in the supermarket with some confusion before continuing to walk forward. When they arrived, Manager Su Song and several attendants were already standing on both sides of the hall like tree stumps. They bowed and said in an extremely respectful tone, please come again next time. Lin Xiaoyao, the short-haired girl, and the girl with ponytails had never been treated like this before. As expected of the best KTV in Qing City, the service is really good. Zhu Jun went to the service desk and prepared to pay. However, the cashier said, due to the disturbance caused to your companion during your time here, your expenses are all covered. Just like that, everyone slowly walked out of the KTV with their heads full of confusion. Brother, don't you think it's strange? We didn't have to pay after breaking the Louis XIII, but that woman has to pay 28,888 yuan after breaking it, Lin Xiaoyao said. Lin Fan smiled. What's so strange about that? Have you ever heard of someone breaking something in their own house and still needing to compensate? Lin Xiaoyao was even more confused. Brilliance KTV is my shop, said Lin Fan with a smile. Silence. The entire scene suddenly fell silent. Lin Xiaoyao, the short-haired girl, the girl with ponytails, and the others all stared at Lin Fan in shock. Brother, you mean, Lin Xiaoyao stuttered. I bought Brilliance KTV a while ago, Lin Fan said. At this moment, everyone finally understood why not only did the short-haired girl not have to compensate for breaking Louis XIII, but the manager also had to give them a lot of delicious food. Why did the manager and attendants line up to send them off when they left? In the end, when Zhu Jun wanted to pay the bill, the cashier said it was free. My family has a KTV, Lin Xiaoyao exclaimed excitedly. Brother, I love you so much. Lin Fan said seriously, we're siblings. Since Lin Xiaoyao and the others still had classes the next day, Lin Fan parted ways with them when they reached a crossroad. The next day, after Lin Fan woke up, he looked at his phone. A message had appeared on the screen. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,670,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Lin Fan lay on the bed and played with his phone for a while. Let's complete today's sign-in first, Lin Fan muttered. Sign in. Ding, congratulations on signing in successfully. You've received 10 million yuan. My luck is bad today. Lin Fan sighed helplessly, then he slowly got up and washed up. At this moment the phone in Lin Fan's pocket rang. He looked at the caller ID and realized that it was a call from the Mercedes-Benz shop. Hello, Mr. Lin, both your cars' license plates and insurance have been completed. May I know where to send the cars? The sweet voice of the female salesperson came from the phone. Do you know 4th Street? Lin Fan asked. In Southside, the saleswoman asked. That's right, just drive the 2 cars to Ordinary Clothing Store on 4th Street, Lin Fan said. All right, the saleswoman said. After hanging up the phone, Lin Fan first ate breakfast nearby before walking toward Ordinary Clothing Store. Tusk. At this moment, 2 brand new GLCs with big red flowers had already arrived at the entrance of the clothing store. Many of the surrounding merchants started discussing after seeing this. 2 Bents. And they're new. Old Lin has a big client. Lin Tao, who was tidying up his clothes in the shop, could not help but poke his head out with a look of anticipation on his face. At this moment, 2 saleswomen in business attire walked out of the GLCs. However, they had no intention of going into Ordinary Clothing Store to buy clothes. Instead, they stood quietly at the door as if they were waiting for someone. What's the matter? Lin Tao asked. The oval-faced saleswoman thought that Lin Tao felt that the cars were affecting his business, so she quickly explained, We're waiting for someone, we'll drive the cars away later. You guys are here, Lin Fan walked over from afar and said. Mr. Lin, the oval-faced saleswoman said happily, you can check the appearance and configuration. If there's no problem, you can sign your name here. Lin Fan took a casual glance at the cars, then picked up a pen and paper to quickly sign his name. After all, they were just 2 cheap cars worth 500,000 yuan. Thank you for your hard work. It's not hard, this is what we should do, the saleswoman said. Standing at the side, Lin Tao, who had not spoken for a long time, could not help but ask, Son, this is... Oh, I bought a car when I passed by a shop 2 days ago, then I bought one for you too, Lin Fan said. You bought one for me too? Lin Tao could not help but widen his eyes. Then he slowly walked to the side of the Mercedes-Benz GLC and gently stroked it. After lunch, Lin Fan's phone vibrated. 12 p.m. The red packets were here. Ding, congratulations, you've received 3 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,999 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 20,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained Zhanghua building. Today, Lin Fan received a total of 45,834 yuan and a building. Zhanghua building? It seems to be one of the few office buildings in Qing City, right? A skyscraper should be worth tens of millions or hundreds of millions, right? Today's red packet is barely okay. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone rang. He looked at the caller ID and realized that it was Huang De. Lin Fan, thank you. As soon as the call connected, Huang De's extremely sincere voice came from the phone. Originally, Huang De might have had to work at the bottom level of the Hushui Street office for the rest of his life. He might even be forced to separate from his girlfriend, Wang Zai. However, because of Lin Fan, everything changed drastically. Lin Fan said, That's just a small matter, don't worry about it. By the way, how are you and Wang Zai? Her father has already agreed to us being in a relationship. If nothing goes wrong, Wang Zai and I will probably get married next year. When that time comes, Lin Fan, you must come if you have the time, Huang De said. All right, Lin Fan replied. The two of them chatted for a while before hanging up. For a while, Lin Fan's life was very dull. He ate, played with his phone, strolled, and slept. Although it was dull, it was also very relaxed and comfortable. When Lin Zai returned home for the holidays, the family returned to their hometown, Shanwu village. At the same time, the sound of firecrackers gradually rang out. Lin Fan and his grandparents sat around the big round table eating hot dumplings. They were happy. It was the first day of the new year. There was an unwritten rule in Shanwu village. The first thing in the morning, the villagers would write down blessings and bring them to the family with the highest status in the village and wish the other party a happy new year. It was not that the villagers were fawning over the powerful, but that they wanted to take advantage of the festive new year to bask in the other party's good fortune. The families who received the blessings would prepare black tea for the villagers, symbolizing that everyone would be prosperous in the new year. When Lin Fan's grandfather, Lin Liqiang, opened the door, a large group of villagers were waiting at the door with their blessings. Moreover, they all began to give their blessings. Happy New Year. Old Master Lin, Happy New Year. Old Master Lin, we're here to give you our blessings. Seeing this, Lin Liqiang said happily, thank you everyone, quick please come in. Lin Tao, Weixu, hurry up and get the stools and pour some black tea. When Lin Tao and Dai Weixu heard his voice, they quickly walked out. When they saw so many villagers, they were also shocked. Then, they quickly moved the stools and poured black tea. New Year, back to school. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation. Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. When the surrounding villagers heard Zhao Jiaqi's words, their mouths were wide open and their faces were filled with horror. An international logistics airport, a hotel, a library, a medicinal herb base, a storage center, a total investment of more than 50 billion. 50 billion. How much money was that? In the eyes of the villagers, 5 million was already a lot. 50 billion was completely beyond their imagination. Lin Tao and Dai Weixu looked at Lin Fan in shock. Although they already knew that their son was amazing, the logistics airport and the 50 billion still surprised them. Lin Liqiang was the first to react. He laughed heartily and said, leaders, please take a seat and have some black tea. The place is rather simple, please don't mind it. 11 Old Master Lin, you're too polite, Zhao Jiaqi smiled. You might not know, but my hometown is in the mountains of Yan City. Compared to my hometown, your place is already considered a wealthy family's compound. Is that so? Ha. Lin Liqiang was even happier. It had to be said that Zhao Jiaqi was indeed the leader of Qing City. With just a few words, the atmosphere at the scene became even more lively and enthusiastic. About an hour later, the villagers and the leaders of Qing City slowly left the Lin family. Lin Liqiang carefully moved the written blessings and the Qing City's specialties into the house like precious treasures. Lin Tao asked, Lin Fan, the leader just said that you invested 50 billion in the logistics airport and hotel in Qing City. Lin Fan replied, yeah, Dad, didn't you ask me to invest in Qing City when the conditions allow? Lin Tao could not help but freeze. Yes. He had said this before. But isn't your investment a little too much, 50 billion? Lin Fan seemed to have noticed the change in his father's expression. He smiled and said, Dad, don't worry, these investments are nothing to me. Lin Fan was definitely not bragging. One had to know. Lin Fan had 5% shares of Penguin and 5% shares of Little Tanuki, which amounted to 500 billion yuan. In addition to his shares in LV and Gucci, the Coiling Dragon Villa complex, and the Global Financial Building. Now his total net worth was already approaching trillions. 50 billion was indeed nothing in front of trillions. This year's New Year celebration was the most lively year for the Lin family in Shanwu village. Almost every day people came to congratulate them. Countless gifts were piled up in the Lin family's house. The smile on Lin Liqiang's face almost never faded. This situation continued until the 15th day of the first month. The family gathered around the table and ate the glutinous rice balls. Lin Fan's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and saw that it was from the dean of the mathematics department of Jiangbei University, Hu Qiuwen. Dean Hu, what's the matter? Lin Fan asked curiously. It's about time for school to start. No, your home is so far away from Jiangbei, it's not safe for you to travel alone, therefore we teachers are here to pick you up and fetch you to school, Hu Qiuwen said. Was Qing City far from Jiangbei? It was less than 100 kilometers. How could Lin Fan not understand what the dean was thinking? He was worried that he would not return to Jiangbei University. Lin Fan smiled. Director Hu, there's no need, I'll go over myself later. We have to be responsible for the safety of the students, Hu Qiuwen said. Besides, we've already reached 4th Street of Qing City, but you don't seem to be home. Lin Fan was stunned for a moment. He did not expect that Dean Hu and the others had already arrived in Qing City. I'm spending the new year with my grandparents in Shanwu Village, he said after a while. Shanwu Village, all right, we'll be right there, Hu Qiuwen said. Not long after, a luxurious bus stopped in front of the Lin family's house. Then Hu Qiuwen and a large group of professors walked in with gifts. You should be Lin Fan's grandfather, right? Old Master Lin, Happy New Year. When they saw Lin Liqiang, they cupped their hands and congratulated him. Thank you, Lin Liqiang said happily. Then he asked, oh right you are. I'm Hu Chuan, the Dean of the Mathematics Department of Jiangbei University. I'm here to celebrate the new year with you and also to pick Lin Fan up. It's too dangerous for him to go back alone considering the long distance. I'm Ma Zhicheng, the head of the grade of the Mathematics Department of Jiangbei University. I'm Qin Jia, the Dean of Mathematics at Jiangbei University. Lin Liqiang listened to everyone's self-introduction, and his pair of turbid eyes became bright. During this period of time, there were indeed many big shots who came to visit him. However, there had never been people like Hu Chuan and Ma Zhicheng who had the status of dean and head of the grade. These were all great professors and scholars. Lin Liqiang liked cultured people the most. Now they had all come to pay their respects. Lin Liqiang said excitedly, everyone please come in and sit. Lin Tao, he shouted, Lil Fan Lin Tao, come out and greet the guests. Lin Tao had already met Hu Chuan and the others before the new year, therefore after seeing them again he was not too unfamiliar with them. He said happily, Dean Hu and all the professors please sit down. Everyone sat together, drinking tea and chatting. The atmosphere was very relaxed. Lin Fan said, Dean, you guys really didn't have to pick me up. I was planning to drive to school later. How tiring is driving? It's also dangerous. Later you can rest on the bus. Director Ma, you can help Lin Fan drive his car, Hu Chuan said. Alright, Ma Zhicheng replied. Lin Liqiang and Lin Tao watched as Lin Fan, Hu Chuan and the others boarded the luxury bus and headed toward Jiangbei University. At this moment, a villager walked over and asked, Old Master Lin, did you have more guests just now? These days, every time a wave of guests came to Lin Liqiang's house, there would be villagers coming to talk to them. This was also when Lin Liqiang was the happiest. Yeah, Lin Liqiang said proudly, the dean and professors of Jiangbei University came to visit us just now. They came to pick up Lil Fan. When the villagers heard this, their faces immediately revealed a strong sense of envy. The dean and the professors personally came to pay a New Year's visit and pick Lin Fan up to go back to school. How glorious was this? Lin Liqiang was very satisfied with the villagers' reaction. At the same time, in the central hospital in Qing City. After these few days of treatment, Li Yang recovered a lot. He could even get out of bed alone. He opened the drawer and saw the small bottle of medical water. He could not help but ask, what's this? Yang Wei looked over and said, your former student Lin Fan brought this over before the new year. He said that after you get better you can drink it. I forgot about it. Li Yang's face was filled with gratitude when Lin Fan was mentioned. If it was not for Lin Fan, his illness would not have recovered so quickly and he would not have been able to stay in the VIP ward. Li Yang did not care what medicine it was. As long as it was given by Lin Fan, there was absolutely no problem. He poured it into his mouth. Gulp. A moment later, the place where Li Yang had undergone surgery began to itch and burn. Sleepiness also gradually came. When he woke up, he realized that all the surgical wounds on his body had disappeared. A sense of relief that he had never felt before surged into his heart. Feeling this, Li Yang was stunned, his face filled with disbelief. Chapter 221, Class Roll Call. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation. Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. As the New Year holidays had just ended, the road was filled with dense vehicles and was very congested. The luxury bus took nearly 3 hours to arrive at Jiangbei University. Originally, Hu Chuan and the others wanted to invite Lin Fan to have a meal together. However, Lin Fan rejected it without hesitation. After all, how could eating with a group of men be more interesting than eating with beautiful women? Lin Fan drove the Lamborghini to Yaqi City. Krieg. When the door opened, Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling appeared in Lin Fan's sight. Although the temperature outside was close to zero and everyone was wearing thick down jackets, the temperature in the house with floor heating was as high as 20 degrees. Therefore, Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling were only wearing thin V-neck long robes. Obviously, during the new year, the two of them had taken good care of themselves. Their already pretty faces had become even fairer and more translucent, and their figures started to develop from to. Seeing this, even Lin Fan could not help but be stunned. He could not help but gulp. Qiu Ziqian and Huang Ling were being stared at by Lin Fan. Perhaps it was because the floor heating was too hot, but their pretty faces were flushed. OE Epsilon. O3 Epsilon. Today, the residential building shook left and right, and it did not stop for the entire night. Fortunately, this building belonged to Lin Fan, otherwise many people would not be able to sleep. The next morning, a gentle breeze blew past, and a leaf hanging on the treetop fell down. Lin Fan opened his eyes as well. At this moment, he was the only one lying on the soft bed. Lin Fan picked up his phone out of habit. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,650,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Then he scrolled through his phone for a while before turning his attention to the sign-in system. Lin Fan muttered to himself, I got 10 million yuan every day in Qing City. Today is my first time signing in Jiangbei this year. I hope I can get something useful. Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 51% of Zia Airlines shares. Seeing this, Lin Fan's eyes lit up. One had to know. Zia Airlines was the largest private airline in Hua Nation. It had nearly 100 large passenger planes and its market value had reached more than 40 billion yuan. 51% of the shares. In other words, he had obtained more than 20 billion. Today's sign-in reward was indeed not bad. Lin Fan's lips curled up as he crawled up. At this moment, Huang Ling and Qiu Ziqian were serving the delicacies at the dining table. When they saw Lin Fan, their faces that were blushing from making breakfast became even redder. Lin Fan picked up a fried dumpling and praised, it's really delicious. When the two of them heard this, they revealed a knowing smile. After breakfast, Lin Fan did not stay in Yiqi City for long. After all, it was the first day of school and it was not good to be late. He drove the Lamborghini while facing the warm sunlight on the slightly crowded road. Soon Lin Fan arrived at Jiangbei University. Perhaps it was because they had not been to school for a while, but the students walking on campus were all smiling. Lin Fan had just walked into the classroom when Song Yi, who was sitting at the back, waved at him and said, "Brother Lin Fan, over here." Lin Fan replied and sat down. At this time, the three roommates were discussing the New Year holidays. "Sai, I feel like the New Year is getting less and less festive now. It's so boring." Exactly, it's even worse than school. I play with my phone in school every day, sleep and watch live broadcasts when I return to the dormitory. It's simply too awesome. Zheng Jinbao added, at home I can only sleep every day. If I sleep for too long my parents will call me. Ma Zhang rubbed his head and said, I read books at home every day. I don't think there's anything different. After a pause he continued, however, it's indeed better in school. I can access the knowledge web here and teachers give lectures. Don't tell me you only like to read, Song Yi asked. Eh? Zheng Jinbao said, what nonsense are you talking about? Ma Zhang has many hobbies, for example, the clubhouse we're going to tonight. Ma Zhang could not help but squirm as he asked, are we going tonight? Ha ha ha. The two of them looked at his embarrassed expression and laughed out loud. Brother Lin Fan, how was your holiday? Song Yi asked. It was a little tiring, Lin Fan said. Tiring, the three of them were puzzled. Their holidays were either dull or boring. What could be so tiring? Lin Fan said, yeah, the CEOs of various companies and leaders of the city came to visit every day. I had to help greet them and pour tea for them every day. It was so tiring. Silence. Brother Lin Fan, do you think I could be your servant? Song Yi begged. Eh? I beg you to let me be your servant. Zheng Jinbao and Ma Zhang bent over exaggeratedly as though they wanted to hug Lin Fan and not let go. Lin Fan looked at their funny faces and could not help but laugh. At this moment, the bell rang in Jiangbei University. Counselor Sun Yaodong walked in with a smile on his face. He first glanced at the students in the class. When he saw Lin Fan, the smile on his face widened. Students, I haven't seen you for a month. Did you miss me? No, the students laughed and shouted. Sun Yaodong's ears seemed to have their own filter, which directly filtered out their response. I missed you guys too, he said with a smile. We didn't miss you, the students stuck out their tongues and laughed even louder. It had to be said that Sun Yeadong was a very good counselor. He did not have a trace of stiffness and easily became friends with the students. The atmosphere in the classroom was relaxed and lively. Sun Yeadong continued, the new year is over. Now everyone should forget about dumplings, cured meat, cured fish, chicken drumsticks and firecrackers at home. And blind dates too. The students in front did not say anything, but after the counselor finished speaking, the classroom burst into laughter. Sun Yeadong cleared his throat and said, all right, let's take a roll call now. Then he picked up the name list and said, Lin Fan. Here. Song Jaeksin. Here. Loud and clear answers rang out in the classroom. Sun Yeadong held a ballpoint pen and kept ticking. A few minutes later, the roll call ended. Everyone is here except Pan Chen, Sun Yeadong said with satisfaction. Oh right, Pan Chen has chosen to take a break from school for some special reasons. So strictly speaking, all the students in our class are here today. As soon as he said this, the entire class burst into enthusiastic cheers. That's great. Haha, class monitor New Year outing. Before the New Year holiday, Pan Chen, as the class monitor, brought his classmates to Xinglong Resort Hotel for a gathering. All the students did not have any good feelings toward him. In fact, it could even be said that they hated him very much. In the classroom, the students directly isolated him in a corner. In the dormitory, no one was willing to talk to him. When the rich second-generation heir that Pan Chen tried so hard to please went bankrupt, the students cheered enthusiastically. They shouted, God has eyes. Now, the students had learned from the counselor that Pan Chen had dropped out of school. This was definitely good news for them and they all cheered loudly. Sun Yeadong thought that it was because they had finally finished the boring roll call that the students cheered. Therefore, he did not pay too much attention to it. He cleared his throat and said, a country can't live without a ruler. Pan Chen used to be our class monitor. Now that he's taking a break from school, we have to choose a new class monitor. Sun Yeadong said in a serious manner. If one did not know, one would probably think that Sun Yeadong was talking about selecting an important leader. Sun Yeadong glanced around the class and asked, does anyone have any recommendations? Lin Fan. I recommend Lin Fan. Brother Lin Fan. Almost the moment Sun Yeadong finished speaking, the class immediately sounded with the loud voices of the students. Sun Yeadong was also very satisfied with this candidate. All right, he nodded and said, then our new class monitor will be Lin Fan. Li Fan was stunned. What was going on? I sleep in class every day and often skip classes, class monitor. Are you sure that's suitable? Song Yi, Ma Zhang and Zhang Jinbao seemed to have seen through Lin Fan's doubts and cupped their hands in congratulations. Brother Lin Fan, congratulations on becoming the class monitor, Ma Zhang said. Originally, I wanted to cling to you after graduation. Now it seems that I have to start from now. As Song Yi spoke, he looked like he was about to bend over and hug Lin Fan's legs. Brother Lin Fan, please help me, Zhang Jinbao shouted. He also bent down and hugged Lin Fan's legs. Lin Fan looked at their funny faces and could not help but want to laugh. At this time, Sun Yeadong said, the New Year holiday was a month long. I know that some of you haven't had enough fun and some of you have a lot to talk about. So let's organize a New Year outing so that you can have fun again and chat for 2 days. How about that? All right, the students immediately shouted. Agreed. That's great. Then let's leave this matter to our new class monitor Lin Fan to organize. Sun Yeadong smiled and nodded. The first lesson of the semester did not require any explanation. The main thing was to bring the students out to celebrate the new year. After class, many students came to Lin Fan's side. Brother Lin Fan, congratulations on becoming the class monitor. Where are we going for the outing? What about Mo Lake? Bird Mountain is not bad either. Many people voiced their suggestions. Due to the short break between classes, the bell rang before they could come to a conclusion. This was the old professor's class. He was not as humorous as the counselor. He only casually chatted about the new year before picking up the textbook and lecturing the new curriculum. Yesterday, Lin Fan did not sleep for the entire night and was already a little sleepy. After listening to the old professor's hypnotic lecture, his head swayed and he finally fell asleep on the table. When the old professor saw it, he could not help but praise in his heart, as expected of Lin Fan. Even though school has just started, he's already been studying all night. Geniuses are indeed forged with 99% hard work. Lin Fan naturally did not know what the old professor was thinking. When he opened his eyes again, the school bell had already rung. Then he walked toward the cafeteria with Song Yi and the others. Lin Fan looked at the long line of people and did not feel impatient at all. On the contrary, he was enjoying it. At this moment, the phone in his pocket vibrated slightly. It was 12 p.m. The red packets were here. Ding, congratulations, you've received 5 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,999 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 166 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 28,888 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 66 yuan. Today, he earned a total of 41,211 yuan. Lin Fan could not help but sigh out in his heart, my luck today is still not that good. After opening the red packets, he realized that there were unread messages on WeChat. Su Ningjing, the coffee beans you planted last time have already blossomed. They're so beautiful. Flower JPG. Looking at the snow-white flowers, Lin Fan could not help but be stunned. At this moment his phone rang. Lin Fan looked at the caller ID and saw that it was an unknown number. Is this Mr. Lin? A respectful voice came from the phone. Lin Fan said, it's me, you are. Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm Zhao Yiping, the chairman of Zia Airlines. The voice on the phone became more respectful. Lin Fan was not too surprised by Zhao Yiping's call. Oh, so it's Chairman Zhao, hello, why are you calling? Mr. Lin, it's like this, our Zia Airlines is planning to hold a staff meeting. I wonder if you have time to host it. It'll also point out the direction for the future of our country's aviation industry, Zhao Yiping asked carefully. Lin Fan said, I won't be hosting it, I don't know much about the industry either, I'll just take the dividends. Today, Zhao Yiping suddenly found out that 51% of his company's shares had been bought by someone. He was worried and restless. This was the company he founded single-handedly. He did not know what kind of person the other party was. Would he command Zia Airlines indiscriminately and cause Zia Airlines to gradually decline? At this moment, Zhao Yiping heard Lin Fan's reply and was extremely happy. However, he suppressed the joy in his heart and persuaded Lin Fan a little more before hanging up. Song Yi saw Lin Fan hang up and said, Brother Fan, where do you think we should go for the outing? I think it's best to drag everyone to the clubhouse again. Ma Zhang, don't you agree? Zhang Jinbao said. Ma Zhang could not help but squirm as he said, that's not a good idea, right? Counselor Sun will be going with us, New Year outing. Lin Fan looked at his phone, WeChat again. He was looking at the messages from Su Ningjing. His eyes moved slightly and he smiled. I've already decided on the place for the New Year outing. Where? Song Yi asked. Is it a clubhouse? Zhang Jinbao asked. Ma Zhang squirmed again. Meeting at the airport, chance encounter. Saturday was supposed to be the day when students slept until they woke up naturally. However, at dawn today, a large group of students carried their bags and walked out of the school gate. They did not feel reluctant to wake up so early. On the contrary, everyone's faces were filled with excitement. It was because today was the day they were going on a trip. Moreover, they were going to the beautiful southern province's Li City. At this moment, a luxurious bus stopped steadily in front of the students. Lin Fan drove to the airport himself. I'll call the names first, Song Yi said as he held the name list. Ma Zhang. Here. Zhang Jinbao. Here. Song Yi checked every name he read. Sun Yaodong was not participating in the New Year outing. In that case, Lin Fan should be the one taking attendance. However, Lin Fan had gone to Yiki City last night. Therefore, Song Yi did it for him. After a while, the roll call was done. Are Gong Zhenshin and Chen Lijian here? Song Yi asked. Soon someone answered. Gong Zhenshin went home, he said he'll go to the airport today. Chen Lijian went on a date with his girlfriend yesterday. He also said that he'll go to the airport alone today. Alright, let's get in the car, Song Yi said. Instantly, everyone was extremely excited as they filed into the luxury bus. After sitting down, the students started chattering excitedly again. As it was Saturday morning, the road was very empty. In just half an hour, the luxury bus arrived at the airport. At this moment, Lin Fan drove the Pagani Hutra to the parking lot. When he saw his classmates, he smiled and greeted them. Good morning, everyone, are you all here? Gong Zhenshin and Chen Lijian will be coming over later, Song Yi said. Lin Fan nodded and said, all right, let's go inside and rest. Then Lin Fan brought everyone to the VIP lounge. Everyone present, other than Song Jiaxin and a few others, most people had never been to the VIP lounge. Some of them had never even taken a plane before. At this moment, they looked at the high-end decorations in the VIP lounge and were amazed. Lin Fan said, you guys haven't eaten breakfast, right? You can eat whatever you want here. In fact, some people had already noticed the exquisite food and high-end drinks in the VIP lounge. They swallowed their saliva silently. At this moment, after hearing Lin Fan's words, they could not sit still anymore. They picked up the trays and picked up some delicacies. Everyone stuffed their mouths, feeling extremely satisfied. It's so delicious. This is the first time I've eaten such a delicious buffet. Me too. Amidst a wave of praise, their stomachs also began to round. Why aren't Gong Zhenshin and Chen Lijian here yet? Isn't the flight at 9:30? It's almost time. Yes, it is. Call them to urge them, otherwise our class trip won't be complete. Someone took out their phone and made a call. After Gong Zhenshin picked up the call, he said that he had already arrived at the airport and would be coming over immediately. Sure enough, Gong Zhenshin also arrived at the VIP lounge after a while. However, Chen Lijian did not pick up his phone. All the students saw that it was getting closer and closer to 9:30, and they could not help but feel a little anxious. Lin Fan said casually, it's fine, just let the airplane wait. Will the plane wait for us? A student asked curiously. Probably, after all. There are so many of us, the classmate beside him said. At this moment, a few men wearing sunglasses and a woman wearing a hat walked into the VIP lounge. Among them, a relatively thin man said, are you all students who are going on a trip together? Let me tell you something. The plane won't be delayed because of one person or a group of people. So, quickly have that student take another flight. You guys should hurry up and board the plane. Don't waste so many plane tickets at once. Obviously, he had heard the conversation between the students. That was why he reminded them out of kindness. He used to be a student, so he knew very well how rare it was to gather so many students to play together. The students must be in a good mood. If they wasted all the plane tickets, everyone's mood would immediately become very bad. In fact, this trip might not even be able to continue. At this moment, a student suddenly shouted in surprise, you're Mr. He. Seeing that he had been recognized, Mr. He did not continue to hide and slowly took off his sunglasses. Ah, it's really Mr. He. Mr. He, I like yearning for life the most. Then another student looked at the middle-aged man beside Mr. He. You're Mr. Huang. It's me, Mr. Huang took off his sunglasses. Heavens, the student immediately shouted, are you Mrs. Feng? Some students looked at the thinner woman. Yes, Mrs. Feng took off her hat. In that case, you're Mr. Chang. Some students looked at the man in sunglasses. Yes, Mr. Chang also took off his sunglasses. Instantly, the entire VIP lounge was filled with passionate screams. Ah, I'm really lucky today. Please give me an autograph, Mr. He. Mr. Huang, can I take a photo with you? Mrs. Feng, please give me your autograph. Mr. Chang, autograph please. The students surrounded Mr. He and the others. Mr. He and the others were very amiable, otherwise they would not be so popular. As long as it was not too much, they would agree to all of the students' requests. At this moment, hurried footsteps sounded from outside. Then Chen Lijian ran over with sweat all over his head and said, sorry, I'm late. When the students saw him, they recovered from their excitement of meeting Mr. He and the others. A few students hurriedly took out their phones and said anxiously, "This is bad, it's already 9:40, the plane has probably left." What should we do? We can't go to Lee City anymore. The students were so excited when they left the school, but at this moment they were extremely disappointed. Lin Fan smiled. "Don't worry, the plane hasn't left yet, it's waiting for us." "Student, the plane won't wait for you. Since the plane has just left, go to the counter and see if you can change your flight," Mr. He reminded. At this moment, two flight attendants walked over. Among them, the slightly taller flight attendant said in a sweet voice, "Mr. Lin, are all your classmates here?" Chapter 224 Book a Plane, Arrive. The flight attendant's words immediately attracted everyone's attention. What was going on? Was the plane really waiting for them? Lin Fan's expression remained the same. He nodded and said, "Yes, everyone is here." "I. Then do you need to rest for a while or do you want to board now?" The flight attendant smiled. "Let's board the plane now," Lin Fan said. "All right, this way please." The flight attendant bent down slightly and made a gesture of invitation. Lin Fan nodded and turned to his classmates. "Let's go, let's board the plane." Although there were still some people who were puzzled, they walked forward. After Lin Fan and the rest had left, Mr. He said in a daze, they left. "Obviously yes," Mr. Huang said. "But didn't they say that their plane leaves at 9:30? Does the plane really wait for people?" Mr. He said. Mr. Huang shrugged, indicating that he did not know either. At this moment, a crisp voice sounded from the VIP lounge's speakers. "Attention, passengers of Flight C1118, the flight to Lee City has arrived. Please proceed to boarding gate B25. "Our plane is here," said Mr. Huang. "Let's board the plane." Mr. He lowered his head and walked forward with confusion. When he met a flight attendant, Mr. He could not help but quicken his pace. He hurriedly asked, "Hi there, does the plan wait for late customers?" Mr. He had a habit of solving problems as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be like a thorn stuck in his throat, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. The flight attendant looked at Mr. He strangely. Logically speaking, a person like Mr. He should often fly right. Why would he ask such a low-level question? However, the flight attendant was a professionally trained person. After a short moment, she smiled professionally and said, "The departure time is strictly controlled. We don't stop and wait for anyone. If your relatives and friends haven't arrived at the airport yet, please ask them to come over as soon as possible." How could Mr. He not see the change in the flight attendant's expression? However, he did not care and asked, but the plane seemed to have waited for a group of students. The flight attendant looked enlightened and said, "Oh, you mean Mr. Lin, right? He booked a large passenger plane from our Zia Airlines." Mr. He, Mr. Huang, Ms. Feng and Mr. Cheng, their mouths were half open as they were stunned. At this moment, Lin Fan and the others had already arrived on the plane. They each chose their favorite seats and sat down. It was the first time some students took a plane, so they were very excited. They looked here and there for a while. They kept taking photos. At this moment, a flight attendant slowly walked over and smiled. "Mr. Lin, are all your classmates here?" Lin Fan nodded. "Everyone is here." "Then may I ask if the plane can take off now?" the flight attendant asked again. "Sure," Lin Fan said. "All right." After the flight attendant walked away, Zheng Jinbao praised, "The flight attendant is so beautiful." "That's right," Song Yi agreed. After the plane roared, its speed increased sharply. It instantly passed through the thick clouds and flew in the blue sky. This scene caused all the students to exclaim in amazement. More than an hour later, the plane finally landed slowly. With the flight attendants respectfully sending them off, the students walked out in turn. "Is this Lee City? The air is so good. The sky is so blue." When Lin Fan and his classmates got down from the plane, Mr. He, Mr. Huang, Ms. Feng and Mr. Cheng were waiting for the passengers to get off the plane. They wore sunglasses and hats and quietly got off. Mr. Cheng sighed. "This is the trouble of being a celebrity. We have to be quiet when we get off the plane. When will we be able to get off the plane openly?" "We probably won't have a chance," said Ms. Feng. It's very simple, said Mr. Huang. Really? Mr. Chang and Ms. Feng looked over curiously. Mr. Huang said, let Mr. He mention it to the program team, just like the group of students just now will book a plane. Let alone get off the plane openly, we can even dance on the plane. Therefore, Mr. Chang and Ms. Feng both looked at Mr. He with eager eyes. Mr. He could not help but cough lightly. He said, it's not possible to book a plane for the time being, however, it's still possible to rent a luxury car. Then he pointed at a car not far away and said, look, our luxury car is here. At this moment, a high-end Mercedes-Benz bus drove over from afar. In the end, it stopped steadily in front of Lin Fan and his classmates who had just alighted from another plane. Then Lin Fan and the rest boarded the high-end Mercedes-Benz bus. Seeing this, Mr. Huang, Mr. Chang, and Ms. Feng all looked at Mr. He and then at the G18 in front of them with strange expressions. That appearance. It was as if they were saying, Mr. He, is this the luxury car you mentioned? Mr. He opened his mouth, but he did not know what to say. It had to be said that young people had good energy. Even though they woke up early in the morning and were so excited on the plane that they could not even control themselves, at this moment, they were sitting on the Mercedes-Benz bus looking around and talking non-stop. About 2 hours later, the bus drove through the winding mountain road and finally arrived at its destination. When Lin Fan and his classmates got off the bus, Su Ningjing was already standing in front. Su Ningjing was wearing a long green dress. Under the sunlight, her fair skin and exquisite facial features became crystal clear like jade. Her black and pure eyes were like gemstones, emitting a dazzling light. When a breeze blew past, her waterfall-like hair swayed gently. Seeing this, everyone, including Lin Fan, was stunned. At this moment, if someone said that fairies existed in this world, they would not hesitate to nod and believe it. It was because a fairy had really appeared in front of them. At this moment, Su Ningjing also saw Lin Fan. A natural smile appeared on her pretty face. At this moment, everyone felt as if they had been baked by the sun and their hearts melted instantly. Under everyone's gaze, Su Ningjing walked in front of Lin Fan and said sweetly, Brother Lin Fan, you're here. As soon as she said that, everyone's hearts seemed to have been hit by a hammer. Chapter 225 A Feast, Laughter. Lin Fan did not care about the students around him. He took a step forward and opened his arms, ready to pull Su Ningjing into his arms. Brother. At this moment, a loud and clear cry came from afar. Then Mei, who was also wearing a green dress, jumped and ran over. Her skin was not as fair as Su Ningjing's. She lived in the mountains of Li City all year round, so her skin was a healthy wheat color. Her eyes were just like Su Ningjing's. They were as bright as gems, and her exquisite facial features seemed to have been meticulously carved by God. If Su Ningjing was said to be a fairy who had descended to the mortal world, Mei was the fairy of the mountain. Under everyone's gaze, Mei threw herself into Lin Fan's embrace. Lin Fan smiled. I haven't seen you for a month, but you've grown taller. Mei's pretty face immediately became extremely radiant. Welcome, a white-haired old woman slowly walked over and said. Granny, how are you feeling? Lin Fan asked. Good, very good, the old lady said happily. Lin Fan nodded his head and felt a little more at ease. The old lady was too old. Lin Fan did not know how effective medical water would be on her. At this moment, a man in a white shirt slowly walked over. He bowed and said in an extremely respectful tone, Mr. Lin, it's almost mealtime, shall we cook now? Okay, go ahead, Lin Fan nodded. All right, the man in the white shirt replied, then. Several men wearing tall white chef hats moved out stoves, tables, M5 Wagyu beef, Australian lobster, hairy crabs, and other high-end ingredients from the trucks that were parked far away. After the sound of cooking rang out, a wave of fragrance assailed their noses and spread continuously. On the other hand, Mr. He, Mr. Huang, Mr. Chang, and Ms. Feng finally arrived at the small mountain village after a while in the car. As soon as Mr. Chang got out of the car, his stomach growled. Why didn't we come back after dinner in Li City? He complained. Ms. Feng's stomach was also growling. Yeah, it'll take a long time for Mr. Huang to cook, right? he said with a bitter face. No way am I going to cook now, Mr. Huang said with a tired face. We haven't started work yet, so why would we need Mr. Huang to cook? Mr. He smiled. Don't worry, our program team has already prepared a luxurious meal for you. Then Mr. He opened the trunk of the GL8 and took out lunch boxes. Food is served. Mr. He had voice acting skills, and he handed the lunch boxes to everyone. At the same time, he also opened a lunch box and pointed at the braised fish, green pepper, lean meat, tomato, and egg. He said, "You didn't expect to eat such luxurious lunch boxes in a small mountain village, did you?" At this moment, a whiff of fragrance wafted over from afar. Brother Chang sniffed hard and said, "Huh, what's that smell? It smells so good." "That's right, it smells so good," Ms. Feng also praised. "I think it's over there." Then she carried the lunch box and ran in the direction of the fragrance. Mr. Chang and Mr. Huang followed closely behind. When Mr. He saw that everyone had run away, how could he stay alone? Not long after, they saw several men wearing tall chef hats displaying their superb culinary skills and bringing exquisite dishes to the tables that were already set up. A large group of students sat around 3 tables holding hairy crabs in one hand and Australian lobster in the other. They were eating with their mouths full of grease. They were having a good time. Seeing this, Mr. Chang, Ms. Feng, and Mr. Huang, they could not help but swallow their saliva. Then they looked at the hairy crabs and Australian lobsters in the distance. They then looked at the tomato and egg as well as the green pepper shredded meat in their lunch boxes. Then they all looked at Mr. He. Their appearances, it was as if they were saying, "Mr. He, is this the luxurious meal in the small mountain village you were talking about?" Mr. He could only cough. After eating and drinking their fill, the students' faces were filled with satisfaction. Together, they followed the winding mountain path and the gurgling stream. This water is so clear, I can see the bottom with one glance. And it's so sweet. Wow, that mountain is so beautiful. Let's go up and take a look. When they saw the setting sun dyeing the distant sky red, everyone's mouths were wide open in admiration. After coming down from the mountain, a warm bonfire party was waiting for them. Just like that, everyone gathered around the bonfire to eat barbecue and sing pop songs. On this day, the entire hill was filled with the laughter of students. At night, the students went into the tent that Lin Fan had prepared. They lay in the tent looking at the bright stars in the night sky and chatting softly. It was quiet, beautiful, and Chapter 226 Beautiful Scenery, Yearning for Life. The next day, a gentle breeze blew across the treetops. Song Yi might have caught a cold. He stuck his head out of the tent and prepared to find a place to settle his physiological problems. At this moment, the sun slowly poked out of the divine mountain in the east. At this moment, the sun, the mountain, and the sky seemed to be connected together. Song Yi could not help but be stunned. "Lil Zhang Jinbao," he shouted, "get up and watch the sunrise." Ma Zhang and Zhang Jinbao responded and crawled out of the tent. Following that, the other students also stuck their heads out. The morning sun was different from the setting sun. At first, the sun was blocked by the fog in the forest, making it seem a little hazy. Then the sun rose slowly and broke through the fog, forming thousands of dazzling lights. Seeing this, all the students' mouths were wide open as if they were infatuated. Even Song Jiaxin's beautiful eyes lit up. However, in her eyes, the morning sun in the distance did not seem to be a fiery red sun. It seemed to have turned into a smiling Lin Fan. Song Yi saw that all his classmates were shocked by the beautiful scenery he had discovered. He could not help but say proudly, "How is it? Isn't it nice?" "It looks good," Ma Zhang nodded seriously. Zhang Jinbao said, "Song Yi, you got so drunk yesterday but you actually woke up so early today. It's really rare." "That's because," Song Yi was halfway through his sentence when he suddenly clutched his stomach and said hurriedly, the toilet, where's the toilet?" Immediately after, a nauseating stench wafted over to the students who were admiring the morning sun. For breakfast, there were men wearing tall chef's hats who cooked delicacies such as Australian shrimp spaghetti, fried egg dumplings, beef fried rice, fresh meat wontons, and so on. Everyone was very satisfied. Yesterday, the students had already familiarized themselves with the surrounding environment. Next, they chose the place they wanted to go and moved around freely. Lin Fan plucked some fruits and returned early. He looked into the distance and saw the coffee beans that he had planted. At this moment, the coffee beans had all grown and bloomed with snow-white flowers. It was as if a long stretch of white fur had been laid on the hillside. It was very beautiful. Lin Fan praised in his heart, as expected of the top-grade coffee beans from the system. In just a month, they've grown so much. He could not help but walk toward the hillside. Soon, he noticed that some of the plants had become crooked due to the rain and strong winds. Moreover, because the surrounding plants blocked the sunlight, they were short. Thus, Lin Fan turned around and walked toward Su Ningjing's house. He was going to get a shovel and a hoe to transplant the affected plants and trim them. Meanwhile, in a house in a small mountain village, Mr. Chang was still sleeping soundly on the bed. Miss Feng, on the other hand, was lying on her stomach and playing with her phone. She did not want to move either. They were on the road for the whole day yesterday, and then they had to clean up the house. They were exhausted. Above their heads, there were two drones with high-definition cameras that kept circling. Obviously, the program Yearning for Life had already started. In the live broadcast room, Tan Wuxin, Mr. Chang's sleeping posture is really too ugly. No wonder he can't find a girlfriend. Zheng Zhuhao, yeah, he probably won't be able to find a girlfriend in real life. Let's see if he can get a girlfriend in TV shows or movies in the future. FYI, maybe not, even in shows, Mr. Chang only has a younger sister. Shadowless MS, Feng is in a daze and is playing with her phone. She's so cute. Description: if my mom saw me playing with my phone like this, she would probably confiscate it until the next day. While the live broadcast room was filled with bullet comments, Mr. He walked in with a smile. He smiled and said, "Lil Chang, Lil Feng, it's time to get up. Mr. Huang made us delicious fried dumplings and hot dry noodles." "All right," Miss Feng said weakly. Then she got up with great difficulty, brushed her teeth and washed her face. Only then did she come to the dining table with sleepy eyes. "The delicious fried dumplings are here. The delicious hot dry noodles are here." As Mr. He shouted twice, breakfast was served on the dining table. Ms. Feng had just taken 2 bites when Mr. He took another bottle of milk and said, "How can we miss out on Trensu milk for breakfast?" Trensu has always been innovative. It uses high-quality milk from its exclusive farm, which can replenish the nutrients needed by the human body in a timely manner. In the live broadcast room, "Zio Sheng, it's here, the advertisement is here." Looking at Ms. Feng drinking milk, I suddenly thought of the scene where my mother stared at me drinking milk. Cherish, however, the dumplings made by Mr. Huang look pretty good. At this moment, Mr. Chang walked out with sleepy eyes. Ms. Feng pushed a bottle of milk in front of him. Mr. Chang said in a daze, "For me." "Trensu has always been innovative," Ms. Feng said. "They use high-quality milk from their exclusive farm. It can replenish the nutrients needed by the human body in a timely manner." In the live broadcast room, AI, hahaha, her actions are too funny. Stone, this advertisement is too funny. Teenage Spirit, this is too amusing. "Do you know," Mr. He asked after a full meal, "now there's more and more carbon dioxide on Earth and the weather is getting worse. Therefore, planting trees has become especially important. Let's go plant trees today." Then Mr. He, Mr. Huang, Ms. Feng, and Mr. Chang walked out with hoes, shovels, and saplings. After a while, they arrived at an empty space. Mr. He, Ms. Feng, and Mr. Chang were obviously not very good at planting trees. After digging for a long time, they still could not plant a tree. Mr. Huang could not help but say smugly, "There are techniques to planting trees. Look, I used a hoe to dig and then a shovel." In the live broadcast room, KK, as expected of the all-rounded Mr. Huang, he's even so good at planting trees. Vegetable salad, is there anything in this world that Mr. Huang doesn't know? Single bed, look at Ms. Feng and Mr. Chang. Don't they look like 2 primary school students who are listening attentively? Flower language, Mr. Huang's action of planting trees is so cool. Mr. Huang and the others planted a few trees on this piece of land and walked forward. Later, they arrived at the other side a moment of the clearing. Hence, Mr. Huang and the others picked up their hoes and prepared to start planting trees again. However, this time, the drone accidentally captured the coffee plants not far away. Chapter 227, Find the Most Handsome Farmer. The flowers of the coffee plants were too eye-catching. Soon, they attracted the attention of everyone in the live broadcast room. Wild Xiao, what a huge field of flowers. It doesn't matter what beautiful flowers. Come and go, it's only early spring, right? It's really rare to see such big flowers. 887,755, huh, did you see that? Someone seems to be transplanting those flowers and plants. His movements are so handsome. The little man in the painting, first of all, I have to remind you that they aren't flowers but coffee plants. It's quite rare to see such well-planted coffee plants. The coffee beans harvested in the future should taste good too. Also, I want to say that that person's movements are so handsome. Moon on branch, why do I feel like he's not transplanting plants but dancing in the sea of flowers? He's really so charming. Floral language, I just said that Mr. Huang looked handsome planting trees. Although I can only see the back of the man in the sea of flowers, I have to say that he's really handsome. As the audience sent many comments, they quickly shared the live broadcast to their WeChat group chats and moments. The man was labeled as the most handsome farmer. Instantly, the popularity of the live broadcast room began to soar. In fact, it was normal for such a situation to happen. After all, Lin Fan had expert-level planting technique and could display his charm. Regarding these, Mr. Huang, Mr. He, Ms. Feng, Mr. Chang, and the others were out of the loop. At this moment they were still seriously planting trees, sweating profusely. With their tireless efforts, all the saplings were finally planted. Thus, the four of them dragged their tired bodies and walked toward the house. The first thing they did when they returned to the house was to drink the iced sour plum drink that they had prepared earlier. Instantly, a sense of relief that they had not felt for a long time surged into their hearts. This feeling, it was as if their bodies were floating. Mr. Huang rested for a while before he stood up and said, I got some mushrooms, bamboo shoots, and wild vegetables nearby this morning. I'll cook some wild game for you to try now. Then he went to the kitchen and quickly washed and cut the prepared dishes. As the smoke rose, dishes that looked, smelled, and tasted good were served on the table. In the past, under such circumstances, the live broadcast room would definitely be filled with praise. However, the atmosphere today was completely different. Stone, why are you cooking again? Continue filming that handsome guy transplanting the coffee plants. Carefree, yeah, I'm here to watch the handsome guy transplant the coffee plants. I only got to watch him for a while. Fly, continue filming the handsome guy transplanting coffee plants. Black and white ordinary man +1, otherwise I'll quit watching. Me in the wind, also remember to film from the front. Film the handsome guy's front profile. Generally speaking, after Yearning for Life started its live broadcast, the production team would not take the initiative to intervene. Today, however, too many people had made requests. Thus, when Mr. Huang, Mr. He, Ms. Feng, Mr. Chang, and the others finished their meal, a phone unexpectedly rang in the house. Mr. Huang used a toothpick to pick his teeth and said, Could it be that we have a guest? Lil Chang, go and answer the call. Oh, Mr. Chang stood up helplessly and picked up the phone. I'm the director of the program team, please go to the place where you planted the trees earlier. A slightly hoarse voice came from the phone. Mr. Chang was slightly stunned. He looked at the phone in his hand and could not help but ask in a low voice, Why are we going there again? Because when you were planting the trees, the drone accidentally captured a sea of white coffee plants and a man transplanting the coffee plants. Now, everyone in the live broadcast room is asking you to film him again. After Mr. Chang hung up the phone, a strange expression appeared on his face. What's wrong? Mr. Huang asked. Who called? Mr. Chang hesitated for a while and said, The weather is so good today, let's go out for a walk. Mr. Huang, Mr. He, and Ms. Feng looked at the scorching sun outside. Then they looked at Mr. Chang. That appearance. It was as if they were questioning whether the weather was indeed good. Mr. Chang could not help but cough. He stole a glance at the drone in front of him. He felt helpless. What could he say? He could not just say that the director had called right. Would that not expose him? At this moment, the phone in his pocket suddenly vibrated slightly. An advertisement popped up. Seeing this, Mr. Chang had a flash of inspiration and typed everything the director had just said into his phone. Then he smiled and said, "I use QQ Reading to read novels every day. There are many novels and the interface is good, come and take a look." A perfect advertisement placement. Then Mr. Chang handed his phone to Mr. Huang, Mr. He, and Ms. Feng. When the three of them saw the words on the screen, they were stunned for a moment. After that, Mr. He finally understood. Yeah, reading novels on QQ Reading is really fun. I'm full, come let's go take a walk around the coffee plants to digest the food. Walking 100 steps after a meal will help us live to 99, let's go, Mr. Huang replied. Then Mr. He, Mr. Huang, Ms. Feng and Mr. Chang walked out with brisk steps. Before long they arrived at the small hill. They looked at the wild coffee trees with white flowers all over the mountain. For a moment they were all stunned. How beautiful, Ms. Feng said sincerely. In fact, it was not only Ms. Feng who sighed. Everyone in the live broadcast room was the same. Oh my god, this is too beautiful. True color, I want to plant coffee trees in the future. Shi Yang, where that handsome guy from before, where's the handsome guy? Black and white cat, please film the handsome farmer. Countless comments immediately appeared in the entire live broadcast room. Ding! Brother Chang, who was silently admiring the coffee plants, felt his phone vibrate again. It turned out to be a message from the director. Go find the handsome guy who transplanted the coffee plants. Handsome back, JPG. Seeing this, Mr. Chang was stunned for a moment. It was because he remembered this back view. Was this not the young man he met in the VIP lounge yesterday? He seemed to have booked a plane. He was the one who transplanted the coffee plants. After a while, Mr. Chang picked up his phone again. He coughed lightly and said, "Every time I see such beautiful scenery, I like to take photos with my Oppo phone." Another smooth advertisement was inserted. Mr. Huang, Mr. He, Ms. Feng, what do you think of my photo? Then, Mr. Chang showed everyone the news and photos sent by the director. Surprised return. Mr. He, Mr. Huang, and Ms. Feng were also stunned when they saw the message and photo. Especially Ms. Feng, whose beautiful eyes shrank slightly. Clearly they recognized Lin Fan's back. They were indeed professional actors. Very quickly, they retracted the shock in their heart. Then they all praised. As expected of an Oppo phone, the photos are so clear, Mr. He said. With an Oppo phone, I don't need to bring a camera anymore, Mr. Huang said. That's right, Ms. Feng said. After a series of discreet advertisements, they began to follow the director's instructions and turned around to look for the handsome guy who transplanted the coffee plants. Along the way, they chatted as they walked. Not long after, they arrived at Su Ningjing's house. They remembered clearly that they had seen Lin Fan and his classmates here yesterday. They were holding Australian lobsters in one hand and hairy crabs in the other, eating to their heart's content. As if recalling that scene, Mr. Chang and Ms. Feng could not help but swallow. At this moment, Mei hopped over and asked, "Is there something you need?" "What a cute girl!" Ms. Feng was pleasantly surprised, and her eyes immediately turned into crescent moons. "Little girl, weren't there a lot of people here yesterday?" Mr. He smiled. "Where are they?" "They just went back," Mei said. "They went back? Did they go back?" Mr. He was stunned. "What about this person?" Mr. Chang took out his phone again. "Oh, you mean brother, he also went back together with the rest of them," Mei said. In fact, this was normal. After all, Lin Fan and the rest still had classes on Monday and had to return today. When Mr. He, Mr. Huang, and the others heard this, they revealed a helpless expression. The director's mission could not be completed. In the live broadcast room, "Hashido, they went back already. It's a pity that I can't see the handsome guy who transplanted the trees. Tang Song Yuan Ming Ching, but this little girl is so cute. Little Wenzai, what a pity." Brother Chang had just put away his phone when he suddenly saw a watch in front of him. He bent down and picked it up. He looked at the cool appearance of the watch and could not help but praise, "What a great watch." Mr. He, Ms. Feng, and Mr. Huang, who were beside him, also saw it. "It looks good," Ms. Feng said. "It looks pretty good indeed," Mr. He nodded. At this moment Mr. Huang frowned slightly and said, "This watch, let me see." Then he took the watch and looked at it carefully. After a while he said, "This watch, why does it look like the limited edition 5002P from Patrick Phillip?" It had to be said that Mr. Huang was indeed a jack of all trades. He knew a thing or two about limited edition watches. A limited edition model from Patrick Phillip. "That must be very expensive, right, Mr. Chang said. "More than 17 million, said Mr. Huang. "Yes." Mr. Chang, Ms. Feng, and Mr. He all gasped. Even though they were popular celebrities, a watch worth more than 17 million yuan was enough to shock them. "This is my brother's watch," Ame said. In the live broadcast room. "Zheng Zhuhao, a watch that costs more than 17 million yuan, don't tell me this is true." The other party is typing, "It shouldn't be true, right? Otherwise such an expensive watch would definitely be found quickly if it was lost, right? I love watches. I'm the manager of a watch company. I've just studied it very carefully. It's indeed a genuine platinum 5002P. The current market price is 17.6 million yuan. Treasure, in that case, not only is the farmer handsome, but he's also a super tycoon. Explanation, he's truly tall, rich, and handsome. Hua, why didn't I even get a chance to look at this tall, rich, and handsome guy? Achoo. Eh? Lin Fan suddenly sneezed. "Brother Lin Fan, are you all right?" Ma Zhang asked. Lin Fan rubbed his nose and said, "I'm fine." Then a faint smile appeared on his face. That was because a crisp notification rang out in Lin Fan's mind. "Ding, you've completed the hidden mission and organized a perfect spring outing. You'll receive 5 silver packets." After 2 days of playing, he completed a mission and received 5 silver packets. This was definitely a pleasant surprise for him. Then, just like before, Lin Fan brought everyone into the VIP lounge to rest for a while. Then, they boarded the plane together. Perhaps it was because they had experienced it once, or perhaps they were tired from playing these 2 days. This time, many students fell asleep in the airplane seats. About 2 hours later, when the plane landed, they were woken up by the students next to them and boarded the luxury bus that had been waiting at the airport. At this moment, a student suddenly realized something and said, "We've been flying back and forth for the past 2 days. Why didn't we see any other passengers?" Eh? That seems to be true. Now that you mention it, I just realized it. That's strange, the spring festival has just passed, there should be a lot of people flying. Moreover, I think that we were on the same plane both times. Even the flight attendants on the plane were identical. Lin Fan listened to everyone's discussion and replied casually, "Because I booked that plane." His voice was very calm. However, it sounded like thunder in the ears of the students. "He booked that plane." "Book the plane, how much was it?" The students had only seen it happen in movies, novels, and other places. However, in reality, they had never heard of it before. Now it happened in front of them. Their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. At this moment, many students remembered that Lin Fan had brought them directly on a plane and they did not need to get their tickets checked. It was Lin Fan who booked the plane. At this moment, all the students looked at Lin Fan with admiration. In order to let everyone have a happy spring outing, Lin Fan booked the entire plane. In fact, most people, even if it was a chartered flight, booking one would not be so easy. The real reason was that Lin Fan was the biggest shareholder of Zia Airlines. Lin Fan could not be bothered to talk about this matter. After returning to school, Lin Fan did not go to his dorm. Instead, he drove the Pagani Huayra to the Coiling Dragon Villa. Then he focused his attention on the 5 silver packets. "Let's see what we can get," he muttered. "Ding, congratulations, you've received 1 million yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 500,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations. You've obtained 5% of the shares of the Volkswagen Group. Ding, congratulations, you've received 200,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 500,000 yuan. Great harvest mission triggered. As Lin Fan was the biggest shareholder of Zia Airlines, the chartered flights were all provided by Zia Airlines for free. For this spring outing, he had only prepared a tent, ingredients, and chefs. The total cost was only a few 100,000 yuan. Lin Fan had completed the hidden mission and received 5 silver packets. He received 2.2 million yuan and 5% of the shares of Volkswagen Group. This was definitely a great harvest. One had to know. Volkswagen Group was not just limited to Volkswagen. It also included Audi, Lamborghini, Bentley, Bugatti, and a large number of other car companies with a total market value of more than 1 trillion yuan. 5% of the shares were worth more than 50 billion. In other words, Lin Fan had invested hundreds of thousands in this spring outing and earned at least 50 billion yuan. Then Lin Fan turned his attention to the check-in system. Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've received 10 million yuan. Regarding this, Lin Fan paid it no mind at all. He played with his phone for a while more before lying down on the soft bed and falling asleep. In the past 2 days he had been flying, hiking, and transplanting. He was a little tired. The next day the sky was clear. When a few sparrows made a few crisp sounds outside the window, Lin Fan slowly opened his eyes. He first looked at his phone out of habit. As usual, a text message appeared on the screen. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,670,000 yuan was deposited into your account. He did not pay much attention to this and turned his attention to the check-in system. Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've received 10 million yuan. Why is it 10 million again? Lin Fan pursed his lips. Then he slowly got up and washed up. At this moment the phone in his pocket rang. Lin Fan looked at the caller ID. It was an unfamiliar number. After hesitating for a moment, he still chose to pick it up. Is this Mr. Lin? A slightly low voice came from the phone. It's me, who are you? Lin Fan asked. Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm Hu Jiarun, the manager of Fengrao Logistics. We have a batch of your cars here. Where should we send them? The voice on the phone said very respectfully. A batch of cars. He did not seem to have ordered any cars during this period of time. Lin Fan was stunned for a moment before asking, Are you sure they're mine? But I haven't booked any cars yet. Are you Lin Fan, Mr. Lin? Hu Jiarun hesitated for a moment before asking. It's me, Lin Fan said. That's right then, these cars were sent by Volkswagen Group, Hu Jiarun said. When Lin Fan heard this, he finally had a look of realization on his face. If it was Volkswagen Group, it would make sense. After all, Lin Fan had a similar experience when he obtained LV's and Gucci's shares. Then send them to the Coiling Dragon Villa complex in Jiangbei, Lin Fan said. Do you know where it is? I do, I'll be there in about 20 minutes, is that okay? Hu Jiarun asked. Lin Fan replied sure. After hanging up the phone, Lin Fan took out some bread from the fridge and baked it in the bread machine. Then, he added high-end butter, beef slices, Australian lobster meat, organic vegetables, and a glass of premium milk. It could be considered a simple breakfast. Lin Fan had just finished his breakfast when the phone in his pocket rang. Mr. Lin, I've arrived, Hu Jiarun's voice came from the phone. When Lin Fan heard that, he looked out the window. Sure enough, 2 long trucks that were 20 to 30 meters long appeared in his sight. Each truck was divided into 3 levels and each level was filled with cars including Volkswagen, Audi, Bentley, Porsche, and so on. Lin Fan had already guessed that the number of cars that Volkswagen Group was giving him would not be small. However, after seeing this scene, he could not help but be shocked. These cars. Could it be that they were all his? This number, there were probably dozens of them, right? Lin Fan walked out with a puzzled look. The round-faced man in the truck quickly saw Lin Fan. He hurriedly walked down and said respectfully, Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm Hu Jiarun, the one who just called you. Hello, Manager Hu, Lin Fan said, Are these cars all mine? Yes, where do you think I should put these cars? Hu Jiarun asked. Just leave them along this road in front, Lin Fan said. The road that Lin Fan was pointing at was the public road in the Coiling Dragon Villa complex.
Eh?
Normally, parking was not allowed on this road. However, the entire Coiling Dragon Villa complex belonged to Lin Fan alone. Naturally, this rule did not apply. With the help of a few workers, all the cars were finally parked on the road after about half an hour. Then Mr. Lin, if there's nothing else, we'll take our leave first, Hu Jiarun said. From the moment he saw Lin Fan until now, Hu Jiarun had maintained a respectful attitude. It was no wonder. It was because he knew that this batch of cars was personally sent by the president of Volkswagen Group. The president of Volkswagen Group valued Lin Fan so much. Lin Fan's identity, one could imagine how amazing it was. All right, Lin Fan said. Just as the two trucks left, Lin Fan's phone rang again. This time, it was an unknown number from overseas. "Hello, Mr. Lin," said a voice that spoke in a very broken Hua Nation language. "Hello," Lin Fan said. At the same time, he had already guessed the identity of the other party. Then, a crisp voice came from the phone. "Mr. Lin, I'm the secretary of Volkswagen Group's president, William Hull. Mr. William Hull asked me to send his regards to you. He expresses his gratitude for your support and trust in Volkswagen Group."
Eh?
In addition, Mr. William Hull asked if you've received Volkswagen Group's vehicles. Are you satisfied? Lin Fan said, "Tell Mr. William that I'm very satisfied." Then he heard words being exchanged. Mr. William Hull said that it's good as long as you like them, Mr. Lin. He'll continue to send you new cars from Volkswagen Group in the future, the secretary said. Lin Fan had professional-level English, so he understood William's words clearly. They could even converse fluently in English. However, he did not bring it up, nor did he have any intention of speaking in English. It was because he was from Hua Nation. "Thank him for me," Lin Fan said. After some small talk, Lin Fan finally hung up. Then he looked at the long line of Volkswagen and Audi cars on the road and revealed a strange expression. "There are so many cars. If I use a different one for every day of the month, there'll be no overlaps." As soon as he said that, a crisp voice rang out in Lin Fan's mind. "Ding, mission triggered, complete 5 special orders, reward." Chapter 230, Keep working hard and you'll be like me. When Lin Fan heard the notification in his mind, he was stunned for a moment. 5 special orders to get 5 golden packets. Golden packets. Lin Fan's eyes moved slightly. He had never received a golden packet before. This piqued his interest. Lin Fan looked at the time and muttered, "It's already too late to go to school now, let's not go today." Then Lin Fan took out his phone and sent a request for leave to Counselor Sun. Normally, if someone asked for leave as soon as school started, the counselor would definitely reprimand them and ask them to come to class immediately. However, Lin Fan was different. The school leaders had already informed everyone to give Lin Fan the greatest freedom. Therefore, Sun Yaodong directly agreed. Seeing this, Lin Fan opened a Santana next to him and downloaded the Dai Dai app to quickly register. Then he stepped on the accelerator and sped out. The Santana was not like a supercar, which had 500 to 600 horsepower. The Santana only had 119 horsepower. However, it was precisely because of this that Lin Fan felt a sense of relaxation. Not long after, Lin Fan received a beep. The customer was only 2 kilometers away from him. It was a middle-aged man wearing a branded shirt and gold-rimmed glasses. After he got into the car, he glanced at Lin Fan. Then with a slightly arrogant tone he said, "Did you buy this car?" "Oh no, I didn't buy the car," Lin Fan replied casually. When the middle-aged man heard this, the arrogance on his face intensified. In his opinion, since he did not buy the car himself, his parents must have bought it for him. A 20-something-year-old man who could not even afford a Santana and only knew how to rely on his parents was really useless. However, how would he know that? This Santana was not bought by Lin Fan. It was a gift from the president of Volkswagen Group. "Young man, it should be easy to drive people around, right?" the middle-aged man asked. Lin Fan held the steering wheel and said casually, "Yeah, it's quite easy." Instantly, the middle-aged man looked at Lin Fan with a look of pity and disappointment. You know what, when I was your age I had nothing and was very poor. However, I never reached out to my parents nor did I find an easy job. Instead, I gritted my teeth and worked hard. Finally, after many years of hard work, I have my own Porsche, my own villa, and several houses. Moreover, I have a company with a market value of tens of millions. Do you know Jirai Office Building? That's a high-end office building in the center of Gyeongbei City. My company is in Jirai Office Building. As the middle-aged man said this, an unconcealable pride appeared on his face. Lin Fan looked at him and could not help but feel weird. Was he trying to show off in front of him? However, Jirai Office Building, was that not his building? In fact, Lin Fan's guess was right. When the middle-aged man saw some young people who had a hard life but were honest, he liked to act like a successful person and show off in front of them. Then those young people would show their desire for a bright future and worship him. The middle-aged man liked this feeling very much. Cough, cough, the middle-aged man seemed to think that he was being too obvious, so he coughed lightly and said earnestly, "Young man, work hard. In the future you can be like me." At this moment Lin Fan's phone rang. Lin Fan answered the phone in the car. Immediately, a respectful voice came from the car speaker. "Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm Zio Wang, the property manager of Kyankun Building. The rent for this year's building has been collected, and it's a total of 76 million yuan. Do you want me to transfer it directly to the bank card you provided last time?" If an ordinary person suddenly heard that they were about to receive 76 million yuan, they would definitely be overjoyed. However, Lin Fan's expression was extremely calm. "Yes, just proceed with it." It was no wonder that he was like this. That was because Lin Fan's daily income from signing in, breathing, walking, sleeping, and so on was usually more than 13 million. He could earn 76 million yuan in just 6 days. Lin Fan did not care anymore. However, the middle-aged man sitting in the Santana had his mouth wide open. His entire face was filled with disbelief. 76 million yuan. Even if he added up all his assets, he probably would not have so much money. This young man who drove on Dai Dai received 76 million yuan in rent.
Eh?
The entire Kyankun building was his. No. This was absolutely impossible. The person on the phone must be lying to him and joking. That was right. That must be the case. Otherwise, this young man would not be driving on Dai Dai H. Thinking of this, the middle-aged man's expression relaxed again. "All right, I'll instruct the finance department now. I won't disturb you anymore. Goodbye, Mr. Lin," Lil Wang said. Lin Fan had just hung up when his phone rang again. "Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm Lil Chin, the property manager of Beijia Building. The rent for this year's building has been collected according to the contract. The total amount is 85 million yuan. Do I transfer it to your merchant bank account?" Lil Chin said. "That's right," Lin Fan said. "All right, I'll get someone to do it now, then I won't disturb you anymore, Mr. Lin." "Goodbye," Lil Chin said. 85 million yuan. Beijia Building also belonged to this young man.
Eh?
How was this possible? When he heard the first call, the middle-aged man still had a trace of doubt in his heart. What if Kyankun Building really belonged to this young man? At this moment, he completely threw this doubt to the back of his mind. Impossible. Having a skyscraper was already very impressive, 2 buildings. That was absolutely impossible. This young man had probably secretly sent a message to his friends when he was not paying attention, asking them to put on a show with him. At the thought of this, the middle-aged man looked at Lin Fan with a mocking gaze. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone rang again. "Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm Lou Wiley, the property manager of Madu's Global Financial Building. The rent for this year's building has been collected. It's a total of 1.591 billion yuan. I'll transfer it to your merchant bank account now." "Is that okay?" Lou Wiley said. 1.591 billion. Lin Fan's tone was filled with joy as he said, "All right, just proceed with it." "All right, then I won't disturb you anymore, Mr. Lin," Lou Wiley said. The middle-aged man sitting next to him almost laughed out loud. 1.591 billion yuan. He had already treated Lin Fan's words as a lie. Asking people to act without considering the reality was really laughable. At this moment Lin Fan's phone rang again. Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm the property manager of Jai Building. Lil Zhang, hearing this voice, the smile on the middle-aged man's face slightly stopped. It was because he was very familiar with this voice. The owner of this voice seemed to be the property manager of Jai Building, whom he had personally visited yesterday to chat with and give gifts to Zhang Wenzhang. Chapter 231 Special Orders, Leisurely Life. Why did it sound like Zhang Wenzhang's voice? The middle-aged man looked up at the Santana's navigation system with confusion. He only saw. There were 3 big words on the car navigation screen. Zhang Wenzhang, seeing this.
I,
The middle-aged man trembled slightly. Maybe it was the same name. That was right. That must be the case. Then he quickly took out his phone and compared Zhang Wenzhang's number with the number on the car navigation. 151 2345. It was exactly the same. The person who called was really Zhang Wenzhang, the property manager of Jai office building. In the past, no matter where Zhang Wenzhang went, he would always hold his head high and be treated respectfully by many people. When had he even spoken to others in such a respectful tone? He even called himself Lil Zhang. Lil Zhang. This it was simply unimaginable. At this moment, Zhang Wenzhang's respectful voice sounded from the car's speakers again. Mr. Lin, the rent for all the office buildings in Jai office building this year has been collected. It's a total of 83 million yuan. Would you like to transfer it to your merchant bank account? The middle-aged man froze. The office rent of Jai office building was transferred to the young man's account. In that case, Jai office building definitely belonged to him. It turned out that he had not been acting all along. Kun building belonged to him, Beijia building belonged to him, and Global Financial building in Madu also belonged to him. Kun building, Beijia building, and Jai office building were all high-end office buildings in Jiangbei. The market price was all above 1 billion, totaling more than 3 billion. Madu's Global Financial Tower was a well-known high-end office building in the country. It was probably worth more than tens of billions. The young man in front of him, what kind of godly tycoon was he? The middle-aged man could not help but gape in shock. Lin Fan did not care about him at all. He said calmly into the phone, "Yes, just transfer it to my merchant bank account." After saying that, he hung up the phone. Then Lin Fan looked at the middle-aged man and sighed, I've thought about it, I still can't work as hard as you did when you were young. Otherwise, when I reach your age, it would be too tragic if I only have tens of millions of assets left." When the middle-aged man heard this, his entire face flushed red. He had never expected a young man who drove on Dai to actually be such a legendary super tycoon. Could it be that all the truly rich people were so low-key? At this moment, he wished he could dig himself a hole to bury in. As soon as they arrived at their destination, the middle-aged man ran out of the car as if he was escaping. Lin Fan could not help but smile as he rubbed his nose. Then, he placed his attention on the system mission. Mission complete 5 special orders, reward 5 golden packets, progress 1-5. Seeing this, Lin Fan's eyes lit up. Did this count as completing a special order? Could it be that every order was a special order? Was this not a little too easy? Thinking of this, Lin Fan could not help but let out a relaxed smile. At this moment, his phone vibrated slightly and a new order appeared. The customer was only 1 kilometer away. Lin Fan stepped on the accelerator and sped forward. This customer was a woman, and the journey was peaceful. After Lin Fan sent her to her destination, he checked the mission but there was no progress. Then Lin Fan received 2 more orders. However, the progress of the mission remained unchanged. Lin Fan muttered, as expected, special orders don't appear so easily. However, Lin Fan was not too frustrated. It was because he felt very relaxed and at ease while driving slowly. When Lin Fan arrived at a red light at a crossroad. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone vibrated, 12:00 p.m. The red packets were here.
I,
Ding, congratulations, you've received 333 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 99 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 19,999 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,000 yuan. This time, Lin Fan received a total of 42,312 yuan. Seeing this, Lin Fan could not help but purse his lips and throw his phone to the side. Then at a two-star Michelin restaurant nearby, he ordered a serving of matsutake at 880 yuan, a small yellow croaker at 2,000 yuan, an organic tomato and beef stew at 2,000 yuan, and a pigeon soup at 500 yuan. Lin Fan's lunch was settled just like that. After Lin Fan ate, he started to yawn. He did not return to the coiling dragon villa. Instead, he spent 10,000 yuan to book a presidential suite at the nearby Hilton Hotel and fell asleep. After all, it would still take him dozens of minutes to return to coiling dragon villa. It was too troublesome. As for the Dai Dai mission, he was not in a hurry. Lin Fan was determined to complete this mission. Firstly, he was curious about the gold packets. Secondly, he wanted to experience the Dai Dai lifestyle. If it was a mission that required a lot of effort, Lin Fan would not even bother with it. Lin Fan slept very comfortably. When he opened his eyes, it was already 4 in the afternoon.
Hey.
Then, Lin Fan asked the attendant to send up some high-end desserts and fruits. After that, he returned to the Santana and began to experience the Dai Dai life again. Soon, Lin Fan had completed 3 Dai Dai orders. However, the progress of the mission did not change. Just as the sky was gradually darkening, his phone vibrated slightly and a new order appeared. However, this time there was a 300 yuan red packet and a message under the order: when you arrive, please pretend to be my boyfriend and help me out. The red packet is a thank you gift. Oh right, my name is Lil Xuan. He actually encountered such a thing. Was this considered a special order? Lin Fan was a little confused as he arrived at his destination. And not far away there was a woman with exquisite facial features. She was wearing a light-colored windbreaker, a white shirt, and a black gauze skirt. She had a slender, voluptuous figure. Beside her, a man in a checkered shirt was standing there, saying something to her. The woman frowned slightly, a hint of annoyance and helplessness on her pretty face. At this moment, the woman turned her body and happened to see the Santana driving toward her. She quietly took out her phone and checked the license plate number. Then, with a nervous heart, she took 2 steps forward and waved repeatedly. Obviously, this was the customer of Dai Dai orders, Lil Xuan. Lin Fan noticed her too. He used his eyes of truth on her. Appearance 92. Favorability 50. Lin Fan thought to himself, 92 points of beauty, no wonder men are going after her. Then, Lin Fan parked the car in front of him and walked out of the driver's seat. He smiled and said, Lil Xuan, have you been waiting for long? Chapter 232. Never heard of it, the gap. Lin Fan's attitude was that he loved what he did. Since he had accepted the order from Dai Dai, he had to follow the rules. Moreover, Lil Xuan also had a high attractiveness score of 92 points. Therefore, Lin Fan did not mind pretending to be Lil Xuan's boyfriend. In fact, Lil Xuan, who asked the driver to pretend to be her boyfriend, was both nervous and helpless. She had no choice but to do that as she was being harassed. At the same time, Lil Xuan did not know what kind of person the driver would be. What if it was a wretched and greasy middle-aged man? What should she do then? At this moment, when Lil Xuan saw Lin Fan's bright and handsome face, she could not help but heave a sigh of relief. In fact, she even felt a little happy. I didn't wait for long, I just got here, she said with a smile. At this moment, the man who had been standing beside Lil Xuan earlier had a cold look in his eyes as he asked in a deep voice, Lil Xuan, who is he? Lil Xuan opened her cherry lips and stuttered, he's. After all, Lin Fan was just the driver that she had called. She was too embarrassed to say that he was her boyfriend. I'm Lil Xuan's boyfriend, Lin Fan said straightforwardly. Who are you? Boyfriend. The man's face darkened. He had also heard Lil Xuan mention that she had a boyfriend. However, the man had always thought it was Lil Xuan's excuse. After all, none of Lil Xuan's colleagues had ever seen her boyfriend before. However, it was true. Lil Xuan was such a beautiful woman, yet she had a boyfriend. The man glanced at the Santana beside him with a look of disdain. He was just a man who drove a Santana even though he was Lil Xuan's boyfriend now. Very soon I'll let you know that you aren't worthy. Thinking of this, the man said in a superior tone, I'm Zhu Zheng, you should have heard of De Tong Company, right? That's my family's company. Lin Fan said in a surprised tone, De Tong Company belongs to your family. That's right, Zhu Zheng said proudly. It was as if he could already see Lin Fan bowing and fawning over him. Lil Xuan, who was beside Lin Fan, revealed a nervous expression on her pretty face. Could it be, did Lin Fan happen to have a partnership with De Tong Company? Was he an employee of De Tong Company? What should she do if he said that he was not her boyfriend? At this moment, Lin Fan shook his head. I've never heard of it. Lil Xuan burst out laughing. Lin Fan's reversal was simply too great. Zhu Zheng almost choked, his eyebrows twitched as he grimaced. You're skilled, Lin Fan said casually. Yeah, I've always been good. Even though Lin Fan teaching Zhu Zheng a lesson made Lil Xuan very happy, she could feel the intense atmosphere and could not help but panic. Lin Fan, it's getting late, let's go back first. She knew very well how powerful the Zhu family was. Lin Fan was just a die driver. If Zhu Zheng were to find trouble with him because of her, then she would really feel bad. Lin Fan could read Lil Xuan's thoughts as well, and he could not help but nod his head in approval. Don't be in such a hurry to leave, Zhu Zheng said. Let's go for a drink together. I'm sorry, I don't like to drink, Lil Xuan replied casually, then she turned around and walked toward the Santana. At this moment, footsteps sounded behind her. Then a middle-aged man in a white shirt strode over. When he saw Zhu Zheng, his silver-rimmed glasses reflected a faint glow of excitement. He said obsequiously, Young Master Zhu, why are you here? Why don't we go upstairs for a cup of coffee? Zhu Zheng glanced at him and his eyes moved slightly. I won't drink coffee. Originally, I was planning to meet the young masters of Fujiya Company and Fengyuan Company for dinner. In the end, and Xuan from your company refused to go. Forget it, I'll just leave. When the middle-aged man heard this, he could not help but become a little anxious. One had to know. Fujiya Company, Fengyuan Company, and Zhu Zheng's family's De Tong Company were all big clients that his company had to win over. However, he had never had any good ideas. Now Zhu Zheng was organizing a dinner with the young masters of Fujiya and Fengyuan. What a good opportunity. He definitely could not miss it. When the middle-aged man thought of this, he quickly turned around and said, Xuan, I have a task for you. Go to the dinner with young Master Zhu. But manager, I've already agreed to go out for dinner with my boyfriend, Xuan said. You can eat with your boyfriend anytime, Manager Li said sternly. This task is very important and involves a major contract. Therefore, it'll be linked to your salary and year-end bonus. Hearing this, Xuan's body could not help but freeze. She had to send a sum of money home every month, and coupled with her own expenses, her bonus and salary were too important to her. All right, I'll go to the dinner party, she said in a low voice as she bit her red lip. Lin Fan said softly, don't worry, I'll go with you. Then he glanced at Manager Li and Zhu Zheng. He said, I'm worried about my girlfriend's safety, so I'll go with her. Is that okay? If you can't even agree to this, then I can only suspect that you're up to no good with my girlfriend. In that case, I'll ask her to resign tomorrow. Manager Li could not help but look at Zhu Zheng. If you want to come, then come, Zhu Zheng sneered. In fact, he had no intention of taking advantage of Xuan today. After all, it was a society ruled by law. As long as he did something out of line, he would definitely lose. The gains outweighed the losses. Zhu Zheng's goal was to show Xuan how extravagant his life was. At the same time, it also made Lin Fan understand how big the gap between him and him was. Manager Li hesitated for a moment and asked, then can I go with you too? This dinner was really too important to the company. He was worried that Xuan, a female employee, would not be able to look at the big picture. Sure, Zhu Zheng replied. After all, since Lin Fan was coming along, it did not matter if there was another person. Moreover, Manager Li could also play a role in restraining Xuan. Thank you, young Master Zhu, Manager Li said happily. By the way, young Master Zhu, do we have a place for today's dinner? Imperial Hotel, Zhu Zheng said. Manager Lee immediately gave him a thumbs up and praised, "The Imperial Hotel is the icon of Jiangbei. It's also the most upscale restaurant. I've never been willing to go in and eat as expected of young Master Zhu." Zhu Zheng could not help but smile proudly. He thought to himself, it was indeed the right decision to let Manager Li come along. Then he did not forget to look at Lin Fan arrogantly. Chapter 233, Faster and Safer. When Lin Fan heard Zhu Zheng's words, he had a strange look on his face. Dinner at the Imperial Hotel. Was that not his hotel? Zhu Zheng was having dinner at his hotel.
I,
Manager Li did not notice the change in Lin Fan's expression at all. He said ingratiatingly, "Young Master Zhu, my car is in front. Do you need me to drive you to the Imperial Hotel?" "No need," Zhu Zheng waved his hand, then he took out his car key and pressed it lightly. Suddenly, the fiery red Porsche 911 in the distance lit up its taillights and let out a beep. Manager Li praised again, "Porsche 911, F***CK, young Master Zhu, you're awesome." Zhu Zheng could not help but reveal a smug smile again. He then said to Xuan, "It's getting late. Lil Xuan, you should be very hungry, right? My Porsche 911 is faster and safer. I'll drive you to the Imperial Hotel." "I'm not hungry yet," Xuan said. "I'll just take my boyfriend's car." As she spoke, her pretty face could not help but blush. Obviously, she was still not used to the word boyfriend. Then Xuan got into Lin Fan's Santana as if she was escaping. Lin Fan did not hesitate and got into the driver's seat. Zhu Zheng looked at the ugly silhouette of the Santana and the pretty face of Xuan from the car window, his face full of jealousy. He slowly walked toward his Porsche 911. After starting the engine, Zhu Zheng stepped on the accelerator and the car sped forward like a roaring beast. Zhu Zheng was moving at top speed. He looked at the green belt that was constantly retreating on both sides and sneered, "Lin Fan, eat my dust." As he spoke, Zhu Zheng could not help but glance at the rearview mirror. He wanted to see the scene of Santana being completely left behind by him. However, Zhu Zheng could not find the Santana after searching for a while. "It seems like I've already shaken you off. You're so slow," he grinned. Then he turned his attention back to the front. However, at this moment, Zhu Zheng's pupils suddenly constricted. "What is it? How is that possible?" He realized that the ugly Santana was right in front of him. That was right, it was right in front of him. "Humph, no matter how you got to the front, I'll soon leave you far behind." Zhu Zheng stepped on the accelerator, and the Porsche 911 immediately let out a beast-like roar. However, on city roads, how could one increase the speed by simply stepping on the accelerator? In front of Zhu Zheng, there were cars on both sides of him. He could not overtake them and could only keep a distance from Lin Fan. After driving through a few corners, he suddenly realized that the distance between him and the Santana did not shorten. Instead, it was getting longer and longer. Seeing this, Zhu Zheng became extremely anxious. Was he going to let the Santana stay ahead of him just like that? No. Absolutely not. This was a disgrace. Therefore, even though there were a few cars ahead, Zhu Zheng still stepped on the gas pedal and prepared to overtake them. Soon he overtook one car, then two cars. When Zhu Zheng tried to overtake the third car, he accidentally crashed into the car next to him. Bang! Instantly, the entire front of the car was smashed into pieces. In the car next to him, a man with a buzz cut walked out aggressively and shouted, "Do you even know how to drive? Do you think you're amazing just because you drive a Porsche?" Zhu Zheng knew that he was in the wrong. Besides, he did not dare to refute the man when he saw his fierce expression. At this moment, Manager Li, who had been following behind, slowly parked the car beside them. "Young Master Zhu, are you all right?" he asked with concern. At this moment, Lin Fan turned around from the front and walked to the side. He looked like he was watching a show. He looked at the broken Porsche 911 and then his gaze fell on Zhu Zheng. It was as if he was saying, "Zhu Zheng, is this the Porsche 911 that you said is safe and fast? Fortunately, I didn't let Xuan sit in your car." At this moment, silence was better than anything else. Zhu Zheng seemed to have read Lin Fan's expression, and his face turned red. At this moment, an officer rode a motorcycle over from afar. "What happened here?" He tried to overtake me by force and then hit me, the man with the buzz cut pointed at Zhu Zhang. I have a dash cam. After investigating for a while, the officer quickly came to a conclusion and said to Zhu Zhang, you didn't follow the traffic rules, you'll take full responsibility. 3 points will be deducted and you'll be fined 200 yuan.
Eh?
At this moment, Zhu Zhang only wanted to end this matter as soon as possible, so he nodded and said, all right. After the officer and the man with a buzz cut left, Zhu Zhang turned to Manager Li and said, Manager Li, lend me your car, take my car to the repair shop. Manager Li opened his mouth but did not immediately agree. He was worried after seeing Zhu Zhang's driving skills. Zhu Zhang's Datong company was indeed a big client that his company needed to win over. However, he was just a manager of the company. What if Zhu Zhang also crashed his own car? Even if he managed to win a contract with Datong, it would still be a loss for him.
Tusk.
At this moment, a tow truck drove over from afar. Young Master Zhu will get the tow truck to tow your Porsche 911 back, Manager Li said. Zhu Zhang did not think too much about it and nodded casually. At this point, the car race and accident came to an end. When Zhu Zhang, Lin Fan and the others arrived at the Imperial Hotel, 2 men dressed in branded clothes were already waiting in the lobby. When Manager Li saw them, his eyes lit up slightly as he said happily, Young Master Du, Young Master Pang, hello.
Eh?
However, the 2 of them did not seem to hear him. They only glanced at him indifferently and did not speak at all. Between them, young Master Du, who was taller, scolded, Zhu Zhang, what's going on? You're so late. Yeah, we've been waiting for a long time, young Master Pang said. Zhu Zhang was also a little embarrassed. There was an accident just now. In order to express my apology, I'll drink a big glass of wine to apologize to you later. When the 2 of them heard this, they revealed a satisfied expression. Then, Zhu Zhang led everyone to the front desk. During this time, he did not forget to look at Lin Fan provocatively. It was as if he was saying, kid, I'll let you experience such a high-end place today. I'll let you see the difference between us. Pretty lady, please arrange a private room for us, Zhu Zhang said. I'm sorry, our private rooms have been booked, the receptionist said apologetically. Zhu Zhang felt a little regretful. He turned to the crowd and said, shall we sit in the hall? At this moment, hurried footsteps sounded from afar. Then an extremely excited voice came from behind the group of people. You're here.